We're live!
We are.
Yay! We're live. Cold intro because I don't have the intro for the show and we're streaming on my end today. So, change of plans. Surprise everybody. Welcome to the bi-weekly Allie and Renie show where we talk about world building and we pick a subject from world building or writing because we both work on fantasy projects and Ellie's a writer and I pretend to write and I draw. So we have a lot to talk about with storytelling and all that stuff. So yeah, and this week we're talking about gods and spirits, and this is the first time we're doing the show on my channel. It's usually on Allie's channel. I've linked the playlist in the description, guys. We've actually been doing this for a few months, but we might be switching to doing like jumping between your channel and mine, right? Because yeah, so I think that'll be cool. So next it's every 2 weeks. So next Friday is the next show and it'll be on Allie's channel and then we'll switch back to mine. But anyways, follow the playlist and follow both of us. And so you don't miss this because this is a really cool show and people don't know about it, I think. I'd like to promote it more. Okay, anyhow.
Next Friday is the 25th, by the way.
Oh, okay. You see, my hair is curly today. I braided it.
She did her hair.
So it's curly, yeah. Oh.
That's how I curl my hair too. I'm like, lazy time.
No, it doesn't. I don't have like curlers or anything. Yeah. Girl stuff. Okay, anyhow. Hey, say hi to the chat. Oh, yeah?
Speaking of girl stuff though?
Yes.
How do you feel about pumpkin?
What?
Do you like pumpkin? Like pumpkin spice?
Sometimes.
Okay. Guess what I have right now?
Oh.
I have a farm apple pumpkin candle. But I also have a homemade pumpkin pie candle.
Oh my god.
Then also, doesn't stop there. Have this little candle that looks like a pumpkin. That is maple pumpkin.
Oh, that's actually really cute. So I see that you like pumpkins. Do you like pumpkin?
I do.
Things that we didn't know about Allie that we're just finding out. Well, that's really nice.
Just basic stuff.
Yeah, I like pumpkins. I think pumpkin pie is probably one of my favorite flavors, but I don't like pumpkin spice is like the basic bitch kind of like everybody makes fun of girls
you're not allowed to
drinking
eat my candle, so there.
Well, you said pumpkin spice, and all I know is that's a Starbucks latte flavor. Anyhow, we have some super chats.
No,
hold on. Let me get
Starbucks. Do you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It depends. It's usually too sweet for me. I like pumpkin spice from other places. I usually drink my coffee black though. So black like my soul. Okay, I missed some super chats because we already have a lot of people watching. 46 people watching. Thank you all for being here. Let me catch up. Shit. Where were the super chats that I missed?
Now you're in charge of catching up with the chat. Nice.
Yeah, well, usually it's Allie suffering and doing this. So let me say hi to the chat. Then I'm going to actually go turn my AC on because it was cold as shit for like 3 weeks, okay? And I'm in the south. And it's not even supposed to be that cold. Yeah, like even down in like we had a cold front or something. And now it's warm. All of a sudden, like we had 2 days of just straight rain and now it's warm as fuck and I'm sweltering and I put on this sweater. Like, so we were late because I was changing. Like, look at this. Oh, hold on. Let me show. Oh, down go slow for 5 sock mate. Sorry, weird. I'm so sorry, Travis. I'm the worst. We're gonna do an extra long show so you don't have to wait. But hold on. Let me show this off. I really need to show you guys. Look. This is the hoodie from my store. This is my art.
Oh my gosh, it's so colorful.
Yeah, it's an all-over print hoodie, and I was going to wear it, but it's way too warm, so I had to go change out of it, and I'm still too warm, so anyways. But look, I got shit from my merch store, so you guys are going to check it out.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, hey, John's in the chat. Hi.
Yes. I loved your drawing of him.
Thank you.
It was very accurate.
It was, wasn't it? It was really good. I was so kind. You know, I know it. Some people, I don't know. People were, some people said it was like brutal or whatever. I thought I was being very kind.
I thought
I
you
let
were
him
too.
keep. Yeah, I let him keep. One eyeball, his tongue.
I always say that. I always quote A Knight's Tale where he says, "I will eviscerate you in fiction." I think that's what you did.
I like that.
Way. But with your art. I
like that.
That's probably one of your best pieces.
Oh,
so
wow.
Malin should be honored.
He should be honored. Yeah. Allie is wise and people should listen to her more. This is why we're friends. This is why we're friends. Dango Solo, hello. Ellis BRB, hi John. Citizen Rodin, hello. So many people. Ellie Munoz, so many regulars. Gopher, hello. Joseph Pantalones.
Pantalones.
My company is called Secret Door, named after Narnia. What? I don't know what you're talking about. 8-Bit, hello, what's up? Hi, J-Dread. There's some person. And Tokume, hi Tokume. Checkpoint, Matt G. Sup. It's Travco, yo. And Mo Biggs.
Mo is here.
We love Mo's here. And some person. And Maromi. I don't know what that was.
They quoted Egg Beater. I had to do the noise.
Oh, okay. I see. I missed that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have missed that. Count Dooku for 5. Thank you. Count Dooku said, "Well, Mengshang Irene. I'm still right." He says, "I dream of Renie." Awesome. Thank you, Count Dooku. Oh, he's always so sweet. Trevor Nielsen. Hey, what's up? Cool. Mike Mayhan. Hello. Hi. And Hyper Wizard. Okay. Verukusaki. Howdy. All right. So let's get started, shall we?
Well, I want to say, I saw that Malin said that I have drank the blood of at least one ex-boyfriend, and that is allegedly. I plead the 5th.
Why would you ever think that either of us do anything like that? It's weird.
We're sweethearts. We don't.
Yeah. We're such sweet, innocent ladies. I don't know why you think we would drink the blood of anybody. Yeah. My coffee's almost empty.
That's fine. And Mo is accusing me of making a fake stream so that it throws Mo off. But no, that fake stream is for the algorithm. It was my present. And let's see.
Oh really? Does that help the algorithm if you just at least make the stream? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
if you keep changing the time, it pushes your channel back into the algorithm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'll do that and just fuck with everybody from now on. Just kidding. I'm not gonna do that unless somebody strikes me. Yeah, we're usually on Allie's channel, but some bitch decided to strike her. So
2 of my videos were stricken.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. I don't know. YouTube needs to figure out a system for so people can't just strike your videos and you automatically it's so hard to peel and shit. I mean, I don't know. I doubt that it was actually, anything wrong. Like, you do videos of, Barbie dolls by the pool. You talk about storytelling.
Twice of them. 2 times.
Only 2 times. Yeah.
Only 2 times. My thought streams are an exception. They're my... Okay, you want a thought? Here you go. Here's the most sad, depressing thought ever. You're welcome.
It's funny. Well, your channel is half talking about writing and comics, and half of it is making fun of thoughterry, which I approve of.
Thank you.
There will be no thoughterry around here, even though many people have encouraged me. Little do you know, I have a strict policy of never thoughting. So, yeah.
And that's why I love Renie.
About as far as I'll go is jumping jacks or push-ups, but that's not thoughting. Like, guys will do that. I'm not gonna take my clothes off or something. I don't know.
Guys can be thoughts.
Guys can't be thoughts. That's true. You have a point. J-Dre says we all look so vampiric. Yeah, don't you know this is the Goth Girl Talks About Comic stream? So this is why you need to follow the show and follow both of our channels. This is a bi-weekly thing. We've been doing this for a while, so welcome. Did I paint my hair? No. I did. I curled
That's her normal hair.
Yeah, this is my normal. I did do it. I usually don't do shit to it.
That's your real hair color, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my normal.
Yeah,
my real hair.
I have to steal my hair color from other women, but hers is real.
No, this is my real hair color. I haven't dyed in like 4 years, so this is all real. It's almost black, but not quite. It gets brown at the bottom. A lot of people's hair does that, but I curled it today. Look. Okay.
Yay.
Right. Nobody cares but me, Matt G, for one. Hello, thank you so much, Matt G. Hey. Okay, let me catch up. 80s Maid, what's up? Hello.
80s Maid, welcome.
There's a members chat. Okay, hold on. Let me go over and see them. Oh shit.
Echo.
Voice. Yeah.
Don't you hate that?
I don't like hearing my own voice. That's true. It's very annoying.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. No, it went past. Fuck my life. All right. While I find the member chat, why don't you kick us off and actually start talking about our subject? So gods and spirits in your world. First of all, I guess for anyone who doesn't know you, since this is, I think, your first time on my channel. Well, technically not. You kind of popped in like a group stream once, but introduce yourself and
this show?
For this show. So let everyone know what your book, and your projects are, and just tell us what are gods and spirits real in your world, and if so, what are the most relevant ones?
My book is not a comic. It is my fantasy book is not a comic anyway. It is called The Rotting Crown, and it's high adult fantasy. It is not for children. I would not recommend you ever show it to kids, or they might think that it is cool to eat your own puke. I've never seen Deathsworn Jedi Knight, so I'm sorry. Anyway, basically, in this world, there are people who have natural powers, but there are people who don't. The ones who have natural powers are given lobotomies, basically, so that they can't use them. I'm getting distracted because I'm so used to being on my channel. I don't actually have that many gods that I have set up. And the reason for that is I haven't needed them. I'm a big believer in when you world build, you go as you're writing. You look pink.
Sorry, I'm fucking.
You go as you're writing and you add only what you need. And that's because not everybody can or should be trying to be Tolkien.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, there's such thing as too much, and it will bore a reader to tears. I made one goddess. There's more. I have people reference gods and stuff, but I made one goddess and two gods. Maybe that'll change. The book's not totally done being written yet, but my plan is that there's only one female goddess anyway. All the others are male, and part of that is that the culture in my book, they're very male-centered culture. So the idea of giving a woman power, even, as the exception of a goddess, is not something that would have appeared in their culture. Their only goddess, in fact, was only given that designation because she served her womanly duty, basically.
Womanly duty.
Her womanly duty. Yeah.
I have a feeling John Malin would really like your work. Weird. I don't know why. Lobotomized children,
This Malin's quoting Rob Zombie.
Oh, I have no idea.
Who was quoting movies. That's very sweet.
Yeah. People eating puke?
Hail Shadowhawk. Right?
Yeah. Shadowhawk, what's up?
Hail Takome. Hooray for the patriarchy. That's right.
This is the base goth girl world building news channel now. Continue.
A little bit.
A little bit.
So she's a goddess of the moon. She wears gray robes and she has long gray hair and gray eyes. And she's also the goddess of women and madness. Because that's basically the same.
Oh, so you mean the same thing?
Yeah.
We're horrible.
No. We're just truthful.
We're just honest.
Yeah.
So there's one god. So it sounds like the gods aren't necessarily real. It's just those are the gods that people culturally believe exist. Is that right?
No, she's real.
Okay. So are there actually more deities that they just don't know about or ignore because they don't see what those deities represent as important?
No, I just haven't written them.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I have them referenced. So the only other one I've referenced is their god of the sun. And part of why I needed to include him was because he's included in the alphabet. So our first video was about creating languages. And I wanted to include that as part of it because, they're an agricultural society who live in a land that's very waterlogged. So the sun is just as important as water.
Right. Yeah, I find it interesting. We talked about it on another show, but your like the geography of the setting for the Riding Crown is really important. The whole society is set in like this swampy land, and that influences how magical creatures function and the economy and also the culture. It's really cool. We got to show the map for your world sometime. There was the episode where we talked about the world maps for our respective fantasy worlds. That was a really good one. Yeah. What about like spirits? I guess we talked about like magical animals. You mentioned fairies and stuff once.
Well, as far as spirits go, I do kind of have a thing like that. Basically, but it's something that people can't manifest. Excuse me, manifest. So basically, you can invoke or manifest the spirit of something with certain symbols, runes, whatever you want to call the alphabet. If they say the rune that it represents next to which is the word for body, or the rune for body, then they can create the spirit of that thing. So, like Be would invoke a mothering spirit, or like Ye would invoke an animal spirit, and so on. So they're mostly carved or inscribed like onto things for luck, because only like an actual magic user could conjure the actual spirit. And magic is pretty much outlawed, so it's more like a superstitious thing, but it could work.
Right.
Without revealing things, it could work.
Okay. And you did actually. It's not just Ellie making noises, by the way. Ellie, you did make up a sort of fantasy language for your world.
I did.
As well. It works a little differently than what I did with Nanarsa for Fiendish, but I think if I recall correctly, the way your language works is it's like English, but you kind of warp the sounds and change them. It's almost like a futuristic, like warped form of English.
Yeah, I basically took away all of the letters that I don't like, and then made my own thing from what was left over.
Letters that you don't like.
I mean, that's the basic idea, and we did a whole video on it.
We did.
Yeah.
Seriously, you guys.
We could probably do another one. I'm not sure we talked enough about how to build alphabets. I could talk about that all day.
Oh yeah. I think we should talk more about that. I mean, I don't even remember what we got into with the whole building languages, but yeah, go check out the playlist that's in the description, guys. If you haven't, this is your first time seeing the show, because we're going to be referencing a lot of stuff that we've talked about before, and you might not understand. You'd be like, "What are these bitches talking about? They're fucking crazy." But yeah, we should do another language stream, because I think I talked about like the basis for building the Narsa, sort of that it's based on the sound, how I built the sounds is kind of from Old Norse and Old Slavic, but with Chinese syntax. But I haven't talked about the writing system very much. I think I did. I talked about how there's a character writing system as well as an alphabetic writing system, right?
Yeah, so, a little bit.
But it would be good to go over that again and sort of talk about how people use the language and everything. So,
Down Goes Solo gave you $5 and said, "How would you feel about runes burned into someone's flesh to control or warp them?" I'm gonna plead the fifth on that, and you're gonna have to read my book to find out.
There you go. Runes burned into someone's flesh. So in Fiendish, I ran into the problem of, because I have the Ispoliad and humans have elemental powers. So if an Ispoliad or human has the water domain or the life domain, they can manipulate those energies, right, with the correct rune. Like it's sort of like you have to learn the runes and train for years to be able to use those powers. It's like kind of like alchemy and FMA. It's like you can actually have the skill for it, but you still have to be trained and you have to study. It's like a science. But anyways, I ran into the problem, kind of the same problem as Avatar: The Last Airbender, where, well, what's stopping people from bloodbending? And in Avatar, it's more just, well, people aren't that evil mostly because it's a kid's show, but my world isn't like that. So I needed like an actual solid reason why most casters wouldn't just go around like warping flesh and shit. So what the reason I came up with it is all sentient or all living beings have a sort of astral barrier around them, like the biological energy, because that's what the elemental powers come from for humans and Ispoliad to begin with. Is that their aura, like sort of the aura, that's the astral form of their consciousness, resonates with a certain elemental plane, because there's also planar system. I have to make this fucking map. I don't have the map for like the whole planar system yet, but I have the temporal plane, which is the plane where creatures are born, they live, and they die, and they kind of move through the plane. On either side are 6 elemental planes: is heat and cold, and then the 4 states of matter: solid, air, plasma, and water. And liquid. So the 4 states of matter, heat and cold, and those are elemental planes that all kind of feed into the temporal plane. And then you have life and death. It's also known as the astral and the umbral plane. And beyond that, kind of removed from it, is a celestial plane, which is the plane where the gods are. And life energy sort of cycles through. It's like a 3-dimensional map, so it's kind of hard to explain. But life energy cycles from a celestial plane where it's purged through the astral to the temporal, then to the umbral, and then back to the celestial. So anyways.
Would you ever do like a 3D printing of that? Like,
I don't think it's like necessary.
A 3D printed map. I think that'd be fun.
I don't think that's really necessary. I think if I could just do like an OBJ file and have it on the website and people just pan around, like you can already kind of do that, and that would be pretty understandable.
To like, I don't know, have or to sell it or something.
I could make it look cool, but I don't know like if people would want that. It would be like, here's a dorky 3D printed model of my solar system. Like when people buy 3D models, they want hot girls with giant boobs, and I know that. So I think I'll make that first, and maybe for the hardcore nerds, I'll make like the planar map. Like, unfortunately, I know what sells. Where was I? What was I talking about? Oh, right. So no. It's fine. With the humans and Ispoliad there. So humans and spoliati. So in my world, each race, each species, I just share my website because I have a fancy new website, and all this stuff is on there. So, but well, I'm pulling that up. So in my world, every species, every species of Cymar, which is Cymar is the term for sentient mortal, intelligent mortal beings. So mortal beings are all pretty much almost all beings on temporal plane. So that means they have a like set lifespan. They die at some point naturally, and intelligent, obviously. So not like animals, what we would consider animals, right? Like deer or dogs and shit. Even though dogs don't really exist in my world. So
no doggos.
Not the way they look now. So the way I did fantasy creatures and fiendish is I thought I would I didn't want to use any creatures or almost no creatures that really exist in our world. So even if you see an elk, it's a prehistoric form of the elk. If there's a dog, it's a prehistoric form of dogs. Oh. She's like, we needed to have dogs. No, they're like and like, if you've seen what prehistoric dogs look like, it's really cool. They look kind of like Tasmanian devils, like kind of like slope heads, and like it looks really cool. So a lot of the animals are like prehistoric, the way certain animal species used to look like millions of years ago. So I thought that would add something kind of unique. And so, for example, I don't really have horses. People ride deer and elk and other hoofed animals.
You've talked about this before because remember I asked you if you were going to have the giant sloths.
Yeah. I would think like maybe in the north they have that. They do have mammoths, of course. But
freaking love giant sloths.
Yay, giant sloths. Jason Smoot for 20. Thank you so much, Jason. That's so generous of you. Jason said, "Hey, Renie, is Malin over here bothering you? He's in chat. Oh, he's not bothering me.
Malin gave you $4.99.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed it. I'm just ignoring him. I was still. Hold on. Okay. What? Hold on. Justice for Lieutenant Hughes. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. I did go and look for your member chat. I couldn't find it. I don't know where it is on my YouTube backend. I am really sorry, guys. I can't see member chats over on StreamYard. So, please let me know if I missed it. I will read it. Lieutenant Hughes said, "Don't mind me. I am but a lowly peasant. Hail all, Renie Drows." Thank you, Lieutenant Hughes. Thank you so much for being a member. I really appreciate it. Okay. I'll buy graveyard shit graveyard shift. Yes, everyone buy graveyard shift. That totally wasn't a Freudian slip.
Well, Malin said, I bet you ladies enjoy romantic long walks through graveyards at midnight. Me too. Same but different.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for $4.99, $5, John. That does sound really nice. I think that's the problem. Like, everyone I've dated thinks that I like normal girl shit, but I'm like, no, I want to like walk through graveyards and go to old haunted houses and look at dilapidated towns in the middle of nowhere and see if there are any bones buried under people's basements.
Yeah, go to torture museums and stuff.
Yes, and I'm entertained. I mean, for fuck's sake, I traveled to Iceland, like, not explicitly for the purpose of visiting the penis museum there, but kind of halfway. And I thought that shit's hilarious. So, and also apparently there's a sex museum in Amsterdam. That's so funny to me. That's also on my bucket list when I go to Europe. So, like, Allie's probably not interested. I think that shit's hilarious. But anyways, yeah, like graveyards are also fun, and old dilapidated houses. I'm sure there's like some preserved serial killer's house that would also be an interesting museum to go to. I would love that.
There's definitely a Reverend's graveyard in Loveland, Colorado that I may have marked inadvertently.
I do actually really like graveyards though, but like especially, I don't know so much about American ones. I think it's just I didn't really grow up around it, and like I really like temples and churches, and just like I love feeling the history, and usually the architecture is really intricate And I feel like there's just so much story and so much dedication put into these locations. This is where people.
Yeah, most church architecture is great.
Yeah, I just love seeing the architecture, and that's half the reason I want to go to Europe too, just see the castles and churches. And it just feels
Mormon
like
architecture, not so much. It's very uninspired. I disapprove.
Oh,
we did a whole stream on architecture too.
We did.
We could do more too.
We
Jedi
should.
Knight gave you $2 and said my edible started kicking in. This convo is great.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes behind chat all the time because there's so many chat and people are so generous. So I do apologize.
Trying to help.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate it. Brian Crisco, what up? But yeah, I just really like temples and churches. It's like people are their birthrights, like baptisms and stuff like that, and marriages and deaths. It's all held there, and there's so much history. I love feeling. I feel like you can feel those things in the air sometimes beyond just the fascination of the architecture.
There's a church in Scotland where, as a member of my Scottish clan, I can be interned there after I die.
Oh.
And it's like this crazy, cool, awesome Catholic church that has like my family has like their own alcove where like people have been buried for centuries. It's cool shit.
That is really cool. I think my family has my family's graveyard in Taiwan. Like Chinese graveyards are really cool too because it's not obviously it looks different than like American ones. The tombstones usually they have like a little area. It's almost like a little fort around it, and it depends. Some families have a whole like mausoleum. Like my family has a whole mausoleum, but it's supposed to be like the male line, so you go with the male line. So usually women are buried with their husbands. I guess if I never marry, then I would go there because it's my grandfather's line. But it's really cool because there's this big mausoleum where everybody's ashes are interred. It's like a mini temple with all this like intricate Chinese details and dragons and stuff, and it's like the Chen family mausoleum, but all in the bushes are all these old graves going back to the oldest ancestor that first came to Taiwan, and like way off in the woods is this like old chipped tombstone that you can't even read the text on it anymore, and it's like 200 or 300 years old, and everybody says that was the first ancestor who came from mainland China. So I love the history of graveyards, and there's just so much to learn.
Yeah, about 45 minutes north of me, there's the oldest city in the U.S., and they have really cool graveyards, but half of them you're not even allowed to go into.
Oh, really?
You have to like stare from afar. But they do ghost tours.
That wouldn't be creepy at all. So you're just standing there and staring into somebody's graveyard. Well, I would do that. That's fun.
Most of the people don't even have like people, that are still there.
That's true. Just walled off.
Do the gods in your book have like temples where people go to worship? Or
thank you, neighbor, for revving up your motorcycle at fucking 11:40 p.m.
When you're trying to sleep.
When I'm trying to sleep or I'm trying to stream. Oh right, I was gonna share my Franchi new website. Down Go Solo for 5. Thanks for answering my comicsy questions on Twitter last couple days. For a couple more, ask away, Down Go Solo. I'm always here to answer your questions. I appreciate you. So let me share the website because it's much easier to have a fucking visual aid because my world building is like, I don't think it's that crazy, but I guess it's more extensive than a lot of, people do for comics. Like usually, I don't know, it's like I kind of model my world building after gaming, and there's a lot more like extensive world building like this in games, I think. But again, like I don't think people should try to be Tolkien. I'm not trying to be Tolkien. I think because I built a language and a pantheon for my world, it's like I know it's a compliment, but I'm never going to be.
It's
Yeah, it's what my world needed, and I'm not trying to copy Tolkien. Like, I made a point to build my own races and stuff. Well, I'm never going to be him, and I know it, so I'm not trying to copy him. But so yeah, also by the way, check out my new website, fiendishcomic.com, and I have all this world building stuff on here. So if you go to Pantheon, I have all the gods and stuff listed here. So, what was I talking about? Oh, right, the gods and the temples. So the gods in my world are real, but they're not really involved in the lives of mortal beings, like I just described. Proper like gods, and so in my world there's a all god, sort of like an all father figure. I kind of took the system of like Slavic gods, which is really hard unless you speak like a Slavic language to find resources on Slavic mythology. But I did find some. So the Slavic pantheon sort of had like this duality aspect of it, and like sort of like this three-faced god that was really prominent in Indo-European mythology, which people think translated into the tripartite soul or whatever, or Christianity later on, because Christianity did sort of absorb ideas from different cultures as it spread. But so it's partially the Slavic pantheon, but a little bit inspired by the Norse pantheon. But then when it comes down to spirits, it's more like Shintoism. So my pantheon, like, and my whole gods and spirit system is a big mash of stuff from all over the world. So the way the gods and this whole pantheon works is I have an all god that in Arvosa and Nanarsa, which is the language of Arvos. It is called Trinagya, which just means, or Yura Agya, which means root god or all god, and that's the all father that created everything. That's the progenitor god, and like nothing Trinagya existed before the universe and everything else. But this
are most of your gods benevolent, or are they more 3D?
It depends. They all have different personalities. Yeah, they're pretty three-dimensional. They have some. I don't think I have like purely benevolent, purely evil gods. I don't like that idea. I don't like. I have this one god that's kind of like a trickster character that's a little bit like Loki. So it's sort of like some people see him as evil, but also he's been spited in some ways, so he's just like really vengeful, and he's sometimes he does evil things, sometimes he's forgiven. It's sort of like I gave them personalities, and there's a whole story, because all the gods are sort of like a family, because the way the pantheon is structured is Trinagya had several have children. So the children of Trinagya are called Magoragya, which means great god. And then the children of the Magoragya are the Veru-Agya. And the Magoragya, Trinagya's children, are all sets of twins. And all of these there are 4 sets of twins that are commonly known. There might be more. And all the twins represent aspects in the world that are dualities. So like life or death, or the moon and the sun, or vengeance and justice, and like male and female, and every set of twin is a male and female, and they represent different aspects, and sometimes there's multiple aspects of dualities within the world.
So and then no non-binary god.
Trinagya doesn't have a gender, so that's the only god that like all the other gods come from them, but they don't like really have a gender. That kind of comes from like, I was raised Buddhist, and Buddha technically doesn't have a gender. It's just a being, and it doesn't matter like biologically what gender the mortal form of Buddha was born as. So I guess like that concept kind of comes from Buddhism as well. But the other gods, they all identify as either male or female, and then the Magoragya, the sets of twins, they each have children, and their children usually represent some aspect of their parents. So and then the children of the Magoragya are called Veru-Agya, and the Veru-Agya create they can have their own children as well that are like even lesser gods, like sort of like demigods, but there's so many of those. It's just sort of like sometimes those will be like locally worshipped gods and shit like that. They're not sort of like the great gods that everybody knows about, because the way the world my world works is so they're like, you have like the all father or all mother or whatever, and then the sets of twins, and those are real gods that everybody in the whole world knows for sure exist. And then you have like the next set of like next generation of gods that everybody also knows exist. But then sort of like as the family tree grows of gods, it just kind of like becomes a huge pantheon of demigods that kind of like can be locally worshipped and aren't as important. So
and they're just like seen like by people all the time?
No. Oh. It's that just because they are real, but they don't exist in the same plane as the temporal plane. They don't usually show themselves unless it's a shaman that's meditating and somehow like one of the gods favors them. And I think I might have a scene later on in the story where this does happen, and a shaman is meditating and astrally projecting into the astral plane and sees this visage that is like a god called Adsila, which is the goddess of true sight. That's Milakto is like my trickster god. He's the one that like tricks people and sort of manipulates people. His sister is Adsila, and she's the goddess of true sight. And so they have this push and pull where Milakto tricked Adsila so she would fall, like be banished from the godly realm. So she's the god that brings the souls of people who had died to the celestial realm to be reincarnated, because she's banished into the temporal plane, and she's the only god that walks the temporal plane. But even then, sort of, even though because she's goddess of true sight, she saw that Milakto was trying to trick her. But because she, out of love for him, she went along with it anyways, and she let herself fall because she saw that in the long term this would like be a lesson for him, and she wanted to come to the temporal plane to help people. So I try to write this like I don't know how it happened. It just seemed to make sense, and I try to write it like they were like the Roman and Greek pantheon, right? Like they're a real family, like they're real people. So yeah, Adsila is the only one that walks the temporal plane, but usually people can't see her. It's like because the gods and spirits are real, and shamanism is an actual profession where people spend their lives studying like the spiritual world. People understand it very well, but it's not like you walk around in daily life and you just see like gods walking around everywhere. Though sure. You would see spirits. So the Veruagya, sort of like the proper gods, they create spirits called Dunskagya to serve them. And the Dunskagya, they're kind of called lesser guards, and they can guard any large natural formation. So this is the part where it becomes more like Shintoism. So, for example, like a mountain range would have a Dunskagya. You have like greater Dunskagya and lesser Dunskagya, and it's kind of an ambiguous term, but greater Dunskagya would be like huge natural formations, like a huge ocean would have like a giant ocean god. Something like in Norse mythology that would be like Jormungandr or something, like a huge like ocean serpent or ocean dragon or something. That guards that ocean, and the larger the body of water, the bigger and more powerful the god is, and it wouldn't be seen unless they want to be seen, and they usually hide themselves because, again, the spirits generally their job is to just like protect natural formations and maintain the world, like the health of the world, and they don't really concern themselves with the lives and going ons of mortal beings, because it's like, well, mortal beings are supposed to be born, they live and they die anyway. That's the natural formation, that's the natural course of things. So they don't really interfere unless something comes into the world that is disrupting the natural course of the way Trinagya built the world. And in my story later on, that does actually happen. So that's why we start seeing some more gods and spirits later on. So
Down Goes Solo wanted to know if you've drawn any of your gods.
Have I drawn any of my gods? No, I've been I did some sketches. You see some of the smaller spirits in chapter 2, like the way I want finish to feel is I want to like slowly introduce more of the supernatural stuff. So I don't want to just like fling all this shit on people all at once because that's way too much. Like, you can always go on the website and nerd out and read like all of this if you want to, but you don't have to. So I'm slowly going to reveal it. And in chapter 2, you start seeing some of the smaller spirits. So the Nskagya are sort of demigods that guard large natural formations, but right down to like flowers and trees and like pebbles even have like spirits guarding them. So like just like Shintoism. And if you've seen the anime Mushishi or the manga, it's a manga as well. It's like that. It's like they're like little spirits in nature that normally people can't see, but they're nature spirits. They're like the most basest life forms. And in my world, they're called Haltija. And that's actually a Finnish word. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I'm sure I am, but I forgot what like the actual Finnish mythology is for it, but it's a term for like some sort of nature spirit in Finnish mythology. So in Arvos, that's what they're called. They're called different things in different parts of the world. But so in chapter 2, the characters like go sort of into the deep woods where nature is more pure and uncorrupted. So they start seeing the Haltija and some of the more like smaller, spirits that guard just trees and bushes and stuff. And that's kind of normal to kind of just see them flickering around in the wild.
Are they kind of like those cute little white ones in Princess Mononoke?
Yeah, that's kind of the same concept, like just all kinds of like weird spirits that show themselves in pure nature. I forgot where we were going with all this
Mononoke,
stuff.
right?
I think I might have, Allie. I think I might have.
I'm never gonna assume. Hey, Corey Barton, welcome.
Oh, I should catch up on chat. I've been talking for like 30 minutes. Animal tea. Oh, I'm glad you're interested in this. Hey, Dan Lawless is here. Renie, you should check out Keith Ward, who's an expert in Hindu religions. Ooh, similarities between Hinduism and Christianity. Hinduism and Christianity do have a lot of similarities. It's because Hinduism is descended from Indo-European mythology, and Christianity is, well, it's not directly descended from Indo-European mythology. It did, like I said, take influence from Indo-European religions, which was the older religions of, Europe and the Indic regions before the existence of the Judeo-Christian religion. So someone sent me the entire complete set of the Mahabharata. So I'm going to read that eventually. Yeah, I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I have the whole set now. So I'm going to work my way through that. I'm very interested in Hindu religions and Hindu mythology because I've been studying a lot of the European stuff, and I know like a little more about the Asian stuff just because I grew up there, but I want to find out more about Hindu religions. I mean, it's kind of weird because I grew up Buddhist and I understand the concepts, but I don't really know the mythology, right? Because Buddhism is different from Hinduism.
Right.
So
I mean, what?
Yeah. Okay. I'm talking everybody's ear off. What was the point of all this, Allie? Remind me, reel me back, please. I was explaining my entire fucking Pantheon to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, go on my website and read it so I can stop rambling, please.
That's sort of why we're here.
It's all
here. So you've got I say little, but you've got backstories for every single god all thought out.
Mostly, yeah. It's not as extensive as like the Roman or Greek pantheon, but maybe like as I write the story, I'll expand on the relationship between some of the gods. But
look what Hail the Lord just said.
I didn't know Renie knew Death from the DC Sandman comics. Yeah, you would make a pretty good Death.
That was my nickname when I went to Goth Night in Colorado.
Yeah. That would you would really make a you would play her well. Unlike certain other actors, you actually look just like her.
Unlike certain other people who shall not be named.
Who shall not be named. Yeah. Barb Rogers, Miss Solar Terror for $5 Canadian. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Mucho gracias.
So you said that you took your inspiration from all sorts of places, but from a lot of like Slavic fuck, I hate when you do that.
You okay?
Slavic sources.
You don't want to be full screen?
It's
Is
just
that better?
my face, punching my face with my face.
Oh, okay. Is this
so
better?
Huge.
Okay. All right. I won't stress you out again. I'm gonna start drinking. You got anybody mind?
I don't think they mind. Now, chat, some other time we can talk about goth nights in Colorado. But I didn't take any inspiration at all for my gods from anywhere. However, I did take inspiration for the story of my queen and her sister from a tiny little story that I read in this like book about Greek myths that I have. And I wrote it down, like I marked it when I was reading the book, and then immediately forgot the story. So I'd have to go and I'd have to find it again. But it was during like a time when I was kind of lost for what to write. I don't believe in writer's block. But I was like, how do I want to play this out? You know, like I need my queen to have a backstory, and it has to be compelling, and I wanted it to feel timeless. So I was like, you know what's more timeless than like Greece, Rome, you know, all that stuff. There's a reason why it's lasted for forever. So I did go back and look at that. But now I kind of feel like I should sit down and like make up a whole bunch of gods, but then also I'm like, why? Like if they never do anything and I never use them, like why?
Yeah, you don't have to. The reason I made up the whole Pantheon was not necessarily because all the gods come into play, but it's just because in conversation I felt like people would reference the gods, and if I wanted the gods to be real, so it made sense. I had to like actually detail them because people would reference the world and made it feel like a living world. But if your world is different, there's no need to build things that just never come into play or never affect the character's dialogue.
Right. It would just be for me. Like, you know, or I guess I could put it on a website nobody would read, but
they'll read it. Look at how many people are watching. People love this.
What I want to do for Rotting Crown is I want to make an art book that goes with it. Hopefully that means that I can draw my moon goddess, because she does play a pretty huge part in like shaping the lives of all the women in my entire story, like over generations. Renie did it because creative psychopathy.
Thank you. You're right.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay though. That just means that you're basically like Bastion in the Neverending Story. You're creating a whole new world that just keeps growing around itself.
I really need to watch this so I can understand 90% of the references you make.
Well, I don't just reference just that.
Oh, right.
Gee, galoshes. So, basically, for my moon goddess, the women in my land, Pearl, they used to only have first names until they married, and that's when they were gifted their husband's name as well. So they only had two names, and one wasn't really even theirs. The moon goddess is named Omnimar. She has another name too that goes closer to her like symbol, but that was like her full human name. She was greatly loved by everyone since she was attentive and silent and dutiful.
Wow. Sounds like it fits into your world.
Yeah. A normal person reading my book might think I hate women or something.
Yeah.
A poor man fell in love with her, but her father forbid their union. And they were mortals at the time, so they're all mortals. He thought that the poor man wouldn't be able to take care of her. because he was poor. So instead, her father married her off to a rich man. But the rich man was cruel and abusive. But instead of complaining, she did her duty as a wife, and suffered silently for 10 years. He went off to war and was killed in war, her husband. And after that, the tradition for the women in, my world is that they wear black for the rest of their lives. And the stream until Irene watches Never Ending Story, says Malin for $4.99. I'm
sorry.
Be
used to this by now. I've never seen anything. Everybody's like pissed at me now.
That's
okay. Moving on.
Someday.
I will watch it.
But where was I? Oh, okay, so instead of wearing black though, and just serving like the public, she wore gray, as a form not of protest, but to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because gray was a forbidden like color. You're not allowed to wear gray, because it was considered like bad luck, because it's associated with like evil spirits.
Oh, okay.
So instead, she wears gray, and people think that she's gone insane. But she does it so that she can get the attention of the gods. They notice that her disobedience, because previously her whole life she was so obedient.
Mm-hmm.
So she's confronted. She begs to be allowed to remarry the poor man, who still loved her and had still not taken a wife, because she not only because she loved him, but also because she said that she her only moments of joy were in the times when she felt like she was doing her wifely duty despite the cruelty of the man, the rich man. So they heard her case and they granted her wish, but they couldn't do it as a mortal woman, or they worried that other women would try asking for favors and shit like that. We can't have that. So she has to agree to be a light that reminds women of their duties. So she agrees, of course, and she was allowed to shine in the moon forever. And once a month, she can leave and see her husband, the poor man, who was actually turned into the like a forest guardian spirit and given his own room. So ever since then, women take they have their name, and then they're given a moon name, which is usually their mother's first name. And then, or no, I'm sorry. Wait, yeah. Okay. They have their name, and then they have their mother's name as their middle name, and then when they're married, they're given their husband's name as their third name. So now they have 3 names, which separates them further from the men. And it also serves as a reminder, you have these 3 names. You have your moon name to remind you, of the greatest woman basically who ever lived. And the reasons that she was great. Because she fulfilled her duties as a woman despite suffering. Yeah. I had notes written down so that I didn't forget, but I messed up.
Interesting.
But her father, it was noted that her father had given her off to a cruel man, which was considered also bad.
Oh, well, at least there's some logic to all this.
Right. So he was charged with entrusting his daughter to an evil man, and his soul was wiped from existence. so that it was like he never existed.
Damn.
Which is considered the worst thing that can happen to any being.
That's pretty egregious.
So women honor her, but they also pray her prayer that she prayed, which is the prayer of Grey Mercy, when they wish for assistance in unjust circumstances, which is considered to be very rare. But my savior character's mother prays the prayer when she's being whipped, like harshly, till like her flesh curls off her back and stuff. So
Tokume likes your idea, and it's a very simplified but robustly complex social identity within their culture, right? So your gods do sometimes they do have like a set of morals that they want to enforce on the world. Like, this is how people should behave according to your roles.
Yes, I'll and any and all things that I make are not just going to be like, this is the god of, I don't know, wind or whatever, like what Tolkien has. He had wind and water and all that stuff. It's also very specifically these are the examples for how you behave, and the only exception will be for the moon goddess. So she's also called Ji, which is the name of her rune.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of like it comes from not so much Tolkien. I think even Tolkien sort of had his gods were more like, I don't know. I think people kind of view Tolkien as having this like fairy tale, like almost childlike innocence to his world. But really, if you understand his pantheon and the history of like what he actually wrote,
if you're reading The Hobbit, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like
if
people
you're
have
going on in, if you're going on reading more Silmarillion,
there's some like really gnarly dark stuff, dude.
Freaking Melkor, friends.
And it's complex too. It's complex. There are so many like Feanor, and there's so many characters who like they're in their gray areas, and they kind of are manipulated, and they have good intentions, but they make mistakes. It's really good and all like and it's because it is actually complex that people love it.
Yeah, and some of his gods created their own like races all by themselves. Like I always pronounce it wrong, but like Aule or whatever.
Aule, yeah.
Thank you. Creating the dwarfs. And it's like, why was he allowed to do that?
Yeah, Aule is also that was kind of weird because it's sort of the spark of creation is from Iluvatar, but Aule created the doors, but I guess it's because Iluvatar allowed him to create the doors. And then Aule is also interesting because he means well, but all his apprentices turn out to be shit. It's very three-dimensional, but
Hail, Dean.
Hi, what's up, Dean? Hail CG, we have goth girls now. You've always had goth girls, you just didn't know. He wasn't allowed.
Baromi, but I mean, he kind of was. They could have just gotten rid of him.
It was. I mean, it was. It was still allowed. Like, what really wasn't. If Iluvatar really didn't allow it, it just wouldn't have happened, or it would have turned out like the orcs. Like
we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, like if it really was forbidden. So that's all I'm saying. That's what I think, anyways. Yeah, I think growing up in Asia and with sort of animistic religions, that's just sort of, it's not necessarily what I believe in the world. I'm like fairly agnostic most of the time. I think there are theories to what I think, like what's behind life and death and all this shit that I'm not gonna get into. But it's more like I think this is more likely. I don't really think that, well, because I was raised in Asia with animistic religion, and that's the right way, or like I think maybe the truth is somewhere in between all of these, a lot of the extra reality experiences that a lot of people have. There's a deeper truth that nobody knows fully. But the word to that's about the real world, so I'm not going to get into that. But for
we can't world build the real world. That's already a lost cause.
Yeah, and that's not what any of us are trying to do. You want to build this whole like, well, Ellie, don't you know it's 2022? We have to reflect the world we see outside in fiction.
Well, let's just subvert all our expectations and write something terrible.
Fuck creativity, and we have to reflect the world exactly as it looks on the street. Yeah, I mean, fuck fantasy.
Can you see yourself in my characters? Because if you can, there's probably a problem. You should seek therapy.
That is true. Every time Allie tells me about her writing, I'm like, are you okay, Allie?
No.
Like, you know, if there is no amount of dark fantasy like that I'm going, like Fiendish is like, it's a little dark, really. Though honestly, I'm running into the issue where I'll write something and I'll think it's like, oh, it's not that dark. It's not like Berserk. It's not like there's just constant rape all the time. It's not that bad. And then I actually draw it, and then the people who see it and my colorist is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So
yeah, but I ran into the same thing when I was writing. I have a scene that I wanted very specifically to walk a line between rape and not rape. And I wrote it very carefully on purpose. And then I was like, hey, Mom, read my book. And then she read it and she gave it back to me. And I totally forgot. Like, I forgot about it because it wasn't just that one scene. I was just like, here's everything I have so far. And then she stopped after that scene and she was like, it disturbs me that you have these thoughts.
Yeah, that's my mother as well. I feel like we might have some issues. No, I mean, but my mom is very much like stereotypical girly girl. Like, I drew a page. I don't even show her the pages on Fiendish where people are getting injured anymore because she'll get so offended.
Aww.
Like in chapter 1 of Fiendish, not the opening scene. Well, the opening scene also had people dying, but in like the second scene was the characters finding this man who had been murdered in the woods, and he had been mummified by a mysterious monster. And I showed her that page, and I was like, Mom, look, I finished a comic. I was all proud as she read it. She was like, oh, what's this? He's hurt. And I'm like, he's dead, Mom. She's like, oh, that's really a little much. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never showing you my work again. Hey, anyways, now go solo for 2. Thank you, Douglas. Let's skip my previous superstars. Did I? Okay, I'll go back.
We get so into talking about it, and the chat goes so fast. Sorry.
I can't like shut the fuck up and read the chat.
I don't think I've ever shut the fuck up in my whole life.
I haven't either. I'm physically incapable of it. You guys should know this by now.
That's why we're writers. You can say you're not a writer, but you are.
Okay, I'm a pretend writer. Okay, here we go. Now go solo for 5. Is it helpful to be descriptive with the character's emotion to know exactly what's going through their head when writing a description for a panel? I think that's more.
Alan Moore thinks so.
No! Don't model your scripts after Alan Moore, please. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it for yourself. It's a nightmare. I would never want to draw that. I think I'd have aneurysm when I draw his scripts. Well, I guess we could both answer that. I have a ton of
respect for any artist who looked at an Alan Moore script and said yes. Like, freaking way to go. You are a trooper.
Yeah, in case you guys don't know, his scripts are literally like all caps, constant screaming. It's like crazy person rambling. And I didn't know how much credit his artist should have for making his books as good as they are until I read his fucking scripts. Like, I'm sure the premise is brilliant and he's gutsy with his storytelling, but those scripts are fucking atrocious.
There's no
as an artist.
There's no there's no there's just periods. There's no like commas or exclamation points. It's just the feeling that this puddle will give you is that it is a good day today. Like, and then
yeah,
it
I'm not
throws
even
in a bunch of stuff, and you're like, how? What?
right. He'll be talking
scary.
about like a puddle, and then just go on screaming about like the deep darkness that you can see when you look into your reflection in the puddle. And it's like, this is a comic. Why do I have to know this? Just tell me what to draw, please.
If you go to Comic Experience, they have some Alan Moore scripts that you can just see for real, including the first 12 pages of The Killing Joke. Another big thing about Alan Moore scripts is it takes him like 5 typed pages to go through like 2 comic pages. Because he'll have like just a freaking wall of angry text.
I know, it's just a whole lot of angry text. That's like, I get it, you're trying to maybe get your artist all in the headspace to draw this, but I really don't need that much screaming, please. It's fine. I get it. No, it's like a good sort of a script to comic page ratio is 1 comic script page for every actual drawn comic page. That's the general ratio you want to go for. So try to go for that.
Please.
Did we answer
every artist is like, please.
Please. Por favor. Did we answer the question? Hold on, let me go back real quick. I think oh yeah, is the whole descriptive characters? Oh, characters' emotions. It's exactly what's going through their head, right? Like, I think just don't over describe it. But a little description is definitely good, because especially if I'm just coming into the series and it's if I'm not a co-creator, I don't really know your character as well. So I think it is helpful. Like generally. Like, okay, so what I've discovered with me working with other people is, even though I'm not like, I'm drawing my own comic, I have to work with a colorist. And what I realize is, like, I just assume they can read my mind, but they can't read my goddamn mind. So what I had to do was, even though I have like the inked and lettered pages, I type out a whole note file, sort of making notes around important panels and pages, where in my head, like, I see, okay, this scene, first of all, I need to tell my colorist what time of day it is, because it's not always that apparent in the script what time of day it is. Like, I know, obviously this is a morning scene, but they don't fucking know that. It could be the next day, obviously, but it could be in the evening. So I need to tell my colorist this is an evening, because I don't really work from a script. I just draw my own story.
Well, and your magic has different colored effects.
That too. It's like the color of the magic and all kinds of other stuff, because I mean, my colorist is really good. So, and like, they ask for details such as the character's emotions on what exactly is going through the character's head, because a good colorist won't just like fill in the local colors. Like, they're not just coloring within the lines. Like, well, this character is feeling a little depressed in this panel, so maybe the background could be tinted purple, or like this mood of this scene is supposed to be nostalgic, so the way you would color that is different than if the scene was like you're recalling something that's terrifying. So these things matter, and I have to tell my colorist what my characters are feeling, in like especially if, like, because I do give him the dialogue, but sometimes there's future things that happen in the story that I'm hinting at, and like, it's very nuanced. So I do have to communicate exactly what my characters are feeling with the rest of my team. So I would say, like, at least get the emotions across. Usually the more is better, but not yeah, not don't pull it Alan Moore.
If I managed to find an artist who hated themselves enough to, because somebody brought it up once, so like, Allie, you should make Rotting Crown into a comic. I was like, it would have to be an artist who like really dislike themselves a lot, and their art would have to be their form of like slitting their own wrist, because I don't think that anyone wants to draw like a man eating his own puke. I really don't. Like, does that sound fun? Like, I don't think that sounds fun. I mean, it didn't have to be shown, but like,
it doesn't have to be fun though. It's one of those things where, like, as an artist on it, it's just like it's your fucking job. Like, not every honestly. Okay, hold on. This is something that I'm big on. Like, be a fucking professional. Not everything is about having fun. I don't always have fun drawing Fiendish. Like, it's more fun for me because I wrote this, but there are panels where it's just fucking annoying and I'm just getting through the scene because I'm excited to draw the really awesome big fight scene, but I have to draw this page of them just sitting in this house. And like it's for me, a lot of the times this thing happens where I design this house and there's all these, like, I put a lot of detail in my environment because I wanted to feel like it's a living environment, but then by the time I have to ink it, I'm just like dying because there's so much detail. I just want to move on to the next scene because it's like a really cool scene and it's like murder and blood and boobs and I want to draw that. But anyways, but like, it's work. Do the fucking work because the story comes first, and when it's done, it's going to be worth it. So if you find an artist that's a fucking professional, they won't bitch about having to draw like puke.
Yeah, but
like some things I would understand. Like some things that are like really morally iffy, like shit happening to kids, I understand. But it's just, if it's gross, well, you know, you should know what you're agreeing to. Like, people should know that they're not drawing some PG-13 story if you hire.
That's another thing, though, because I do have my character who's addicted to eating magical flesh, and like she kidnaps slave children and eats them alive.
Yeah, so you need to find an artist that's okay with that shit. I think that's the bigger problem.
I don't know if I could.
Dan's enjoying this little girly. Well, you know, we're all about we're about diversity here, right? I'm just kidding. Diversity.
Inclusion.
Listen, Comics Kid is very diverse. Look, that's what we're here for. We should start talking about makeup more.
Yeah, let's do one of those.
I think the audience makeup, really like
those makeup live streams. We can do our makeup while we talk.
Yeah, like, I think everyone here would really like murder. It. Next time, I'll just talk about hair braiding the whole time.
I'm an esthetician. I could talk all day about that stuff. Actually, Allie's artist test. How do you feel about turning babies into magical pastes? Says Alex. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that does happen in her story. Babies getting turned into magical paste. I don't really have that. I don't have anything that dark. I just have like.
It's not like I present it as a good thing, though. Okay.
This isn't really.
No, this isn't endorsed behavior. Like
no.
Even
this
the woman
evil person doing it.
Yeah, she's evil. Even the woman who does it acknowledges that it is evil to the point where she outlaws the ability of anyone else to do it.
Right.
Because it's all forms of necromancy are specifically outlawed.
Right.
Just nobody realizes that the queen is constantly doing them every couple generations.
Right. I see. I think that's really interesting.
Let's talk about shoes.
Let's talk about shoes. I actually have nothing to say about shoes. I'm not a shoe person.
These shoes cost $300.
Oh, fuck that shit. Fuck that. No,
how many pairs of shoes do you own? I own 5, I think, but I wear 2.
I own like 5, excluding my house slippers. For a woman, that's very few.
I was including my house slipper.
Yeah, I really don't have that many shoes. They're all black. I have heels, sneakers, loafer, like slip-ons, I think flip-flops, and then I have gardening shoes and slippers. Yeah. The end. That's all.
Gardening shoes?
Yeah.
What do your gardening shoes look like? That's actually the most precious thing I've ever heard you say.
They're like booties that I can get dirty, and they're waterproof booties. So I can walk in mud.
Wait, are they like the black things that you put over like regular shoes?
No, they're called duck boots. If you Google duck boots.
I adore you.
Yay!
Anyway,
There's
stop
nothing weird.
making us talk about shoes, chat. You
I know. Look what you guys did. You made us talk about shoes. Down goes solo for 5. In the first scene, my protagonist's mother is dragged away, knowing she'll never see her daughter again. With describing the mother's regret help. I mean, I think that's kind of self-explanatory, though. Unless there's a specific story point, like, oh, I wanted to tell her something, but I never did, and that's relevant to the character development. I think that's a pretty universal emotion that everyone would kind of understand. So things like that, I don't think you need to focus on too much, right?
Yeah, I don't think if you're writing a scene where, oh, okay, bye. If you're writing a scene where, you know, somebody's like, I don't know, beating someone up, you don't really need to say like, oh, they're in pain and stuff. Like, I don't know, unless they're some sort of character with powers, maybe, and they couldn't feel pain before, but now all of a sudden they are feeling pain. So they're like, oh, he's suddenly feeling pain, so he's also shocked because he's like, what is pain? Something like that. I don't know. I'll go through the chat. How about that? We have male shoe collections. Well, you're welcome. Dan said, when I said talk about shoes, I meant don't talk about shoes. Well, next time you want us to talk about shoes, tell us not to. I don't know. Maybe this show should be twice weekly. Guys, do you realize that, like, Renie has stuff to do? She has, like, a life. A world.
I don't actually have a life, but I do have a comic to draw. Do you guys want this comic on time?
That's what I meant.
You guys do want the comic that you pay for on time, right?
Your life is the art.
I'm not a very fast artist, so okay. Back to the subject at hand. I heard you catching up with chat.
I went through a little.
Let's see. Let me try to catch up. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I read that.
Thank you. It is nice, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm very proud of it. I should do this more.
They just want you to show your boobs.
That's true. Yeah. I inadvertently engaged in flattery. How dare I? Let's see. Jelly shoes, biggest mistake. Okay, we're not going to discuss this. Yes, I am turning on my AC. I forgot to do that. It's fucking sweltering in here. Okay. And then Brian Kriskell said another thing I love about writing comic strips is if you know the artist, you can personalize it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, writers and artists you should work together as a team. One of the things that really annoyed me about working for Marvel was it was kind of like it was just a job. You didn't really have sort of a camaraderie with anyone you work with, at least when I was there. So, maybe it's just because I was a fill-in and I wasn't there very long. I'm not going to say this is like the pervasive culture, but my experience was very much, I wasn't seen as a collaborator. I was just there to do a job and fill in the pages and do as I was told.
Did you go in, or was it like we call you and then you send us what we want?
Oh, they just email you. And I did have some writers who would actually ask me, like, so what would you like to draw? And like my answer was usually, well, I like drawing more psychological stuff, like something a little darker. And I did actually have a couple of writers who tried to do that. And I really appreciated that, So and that made the project much more enjoyable for me. It's not
you mean you don't want to just draw cute little girls being cute all the time?
No, I know that, girls are supposed to just like cute little things and girly stuff and people reading their Twitters and phones and drinking coffee. But shockingly, that's not me. I know. It's amazing. But
I am like shocked.
A lot of women do like that, though.
Yeah,
and you know what? I mean,
But none of them have a fiendish comic, though.
They don't. Yeah, that's a whole other discussion that I'm going to rant about if we get too much into it, so I'm going to stop myself.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
You have ranted. It's fine. Ranting.
Yeah, I think people know my thoughts on. Well, I don't know if people do know my thoughts on like YA books, and like I don't specifically have anything against it. I just posted about this. Technically, it was for young adults because it was for like a teenage audience. This old webcomic that I was drawing once with like a teenage main character, like a teenage girl. So I don't have anything categorically against that. It's just a lot of that genre is done so badly, it really annoys me, and I was kind of forced to draw a lot of stuff I didn't super enjoy. It
is so bad. Like, and that's kind of sad about YA, because it doesn't really do that demographic justice. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna read another fucking first person book about like a girl who's gorgeous but she doesn't know it, and she has two guys in love with her at the same time, and they're okay with the other one a little but not really. Like,
dude,
it never ends.
Right, it's just like bad. It's either Steven Universe fan fiction or it's bad Twilight fan fiction. It's just weird.
Yeah.
The main character is always some Mary Sue, and it's like she's so
right now it's magical.
So cool.
Right now, magical school is like a big thing. Going to magic school.
She's just magically good at everything, and you know all the guys like her, even though she's so normal and humble. I mean, it's fucking.
But at the same time, she's like so quirky, but she's also like super normal, but also like she's super plain, but also like it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, those are all tropes that kind of feed larger.
Or she's super clumsy. What a dork! Like.
Oh right. Like all these things. I mean, I'm not gonna like again. My opinion is that people shouldn't make comics or what the fuck ever. Like anyone who, even if you make comics that I don't enjoy, you're fucking free to make it. But it's what annoys me is they're sort of coming into a pre-established genre like superheroes and changing it into something that they're not. And I'm not even that fucking invested in superheroes. I didn't grow up with it, but I totally see why people are annoyed at that. Because it's like, what if you don't appreciate something that like there are people who built this genre, and why would you come in and change it? It just seems really hypocritical and self-important. Why don't you build something from the ground up that you like? If you don't like something that you see, just go build your own shit. It kind of, that's what really bothers me. And you know, it's like if people want to make a bunch of bad like Mary Sue fan fiction shit on their own time, then go ahead, but don't come into my fucking Tolkien and make a shit Amazon adaptation of this amazing masterpiece and put all these stupid tropes in it and completely ruin it. Okay,
calm down a little bit. It's not even just that. So like
I'm a Galadriel. I'm a girl boss. I don't need no man.
Galadriel.
I mean, she already was like that. So why did they have to change her character and make her totally unlikable? Like, she already was this powerful woman, and she didn't have to be a unlikable stoic bitch. I don't
she was terrible. I only watched the first episode because that was enough. But I watched a lot of reviews from like people that I like. But it's not even just that. Like, it's not even just TV or whatever, because there are some places now that are doing like graphic novel adaptations of novels, and I was really excited. So I love Animorphs. I don't know if you know what Animorphs is, but
I do. Shockingly.
Don't say it like you're tired of it already. I
mean, I do.
Well, don't pretend to be excited either.
Okay, all right, okay. Continue. God damn it.
No, so I was really excited because they were like, we're going to make an Animorphs graphic novel series. And I was really pumped because I have every single book. There's like 50 some books. I have every single one. Some of them I have 3 copies because people kept buying them for me. I love this series. I reread it every single year. I think it's the greatest book series ever written. I will die on that hill. I pre-ordered the book, the graphic novel,
wow,
in hardcover.
Wow.
And I have never been more disappointed in my fucking life.
Tell us more about this. I mean, but a lot of these graphic novel adaptations of well-known books, it's like if a book gets really well-known, for some publishers just have this brilliant idea, sarcasm, of let's just do a graphic novel adaptation, like of the George R. R. Martin books. Before, I think there's a Dunk and Egg book. There's also a graphic novel adaptation of
look at these characters.
The proper Song of Ice and Fire series. It's cute. It's not bad.
Yeah, except they look like they should be in Dogman or Captain Underpants, not a book series about freaking aliens and like disembowelment and slavery and shit. Like, they're just so cute, and all of their noses have this weird red shine on them. It drives me insane. I can't, it's unforgivable. But then also, right, the aliens get there.
Oh, you did show me the aliens. The aliens are horrible. Like, I don't know why these publishers have this brilliant idea to make graphic novels once the book gets really famous, and they always hire the most shit no-name artists. Like, look at the Song of Ice and Fire comics. It's bad. Like, the covers are bad, the interiors are bad. It's not like horrific, but for Song of Ice and Fire, this huge franchise with a ton of money, you could find someone better. And I'm really sorry if the artist out there hears that. It's just, you're just not there. And I know I'm being a bitch. I probably wouldn't be there either. I'm not saying I'm good enough, but like, I think I don't understand why all these publishers can't find the best of the best when they do these adaptations. Oh my God, what the fuck is that?
That's supposed to look like a deer.
Oh no.
A deer.
I like the lemon-colored penis in the corner.
I got to this page and I couldn't even read past it because I was like, what in the fuck is that? It's supposed to look like a deer. It's so fat and weird. Why?
Chat, I'm talking about the Song of Ice and Fire one, not the Dunk and Egg comic. Miller did the Dunk and Egg comic.
Who did that?
There's a
I don't
main
even know.
Song of Ice and Fire one.
Is there a comic for that?
Yeah.
Are there gods in that? I've never read them.
Song of Ice and Fire? It's sort of like he leaves it up to... There's like supernatural shit happening, and people fight about my god's better than yours, but nobody really knows. He likes to keep it ambiguous, so it's just kind of what annoys me about his writing, because
this is what that creature's supposed to look like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks much better.
Yeah. And this was drawn fucking 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, ridiculous. That doesn't... How long ago it was drawn doesn't really make a difference. It's, good art is kind of timeless.
They should have been able to find someone who could do it. That's all I mean.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these publishers, when they do the comic adaptation, they just find... okay, this is the one I'm talking about. I'm pulling up the share screen. So here you go. It's this one. The main Song of Ice and Fire comic.
I didn't even know there was a comic.
I know. It's not terrible.
What's wrong with her face?
Yeah, see?
Why is her face like that?
Horrible, but it's also generic. You know what I mean?
Her face looks like that.
Yeah, it's just... It's okay. It could have been better. Like, it's a fucking Song of Ice and Fire, And again, it's a little better than the show because design-wise, the show kind of toned everything down and it really annoyed me. But, like, this is supposed to be Tyrion. Tyrion on the show is already, like, everybody knows in the books he's supposed to be completely hideous. So, like, I'm like, in the comic version, can't you at least make him the way he's supposed to look in the books? Like, completely fucking hideous and weird looking. And like this is supposed to be, that's Gendry and that's Arya. I mean, that's okay, I guess, but all these children look kind of weird. Look like adult heads pasted onto children's bodies. That's the Duncan. Oh, this is Duncan. This is Miller. I don't know if he did the cover. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. Is that Ariane? Her boobs are supposed to be bigger, okay? Canon in the books, literally, George R. R. Martin spends like 2 paragraphs describing her tits. There's like, it's not like 2 paragraphs, but he's like super descriptive. Like her boobs are like big heavy bags with nipples that beg to be sucked or something. That's literally his prose. So her boobs are not big enough. Oh, that's
amazing prose.
Amazing prose. I know.
The fat guy. That fat guy reminds me of the guy in Dune. Is he supposed to look like that?
Probably. He, you know, if he has a lot of references to Dune, if you read both, you start realizing like John and Egret is like a subversion. I mean, you get kind of annoyed because this is the more time goes by and the more he doesn't deliver on Winds of Winter, the more annoyed I am at George R. R. Martin, because then you start to see that, well, I always knew that he was kind of, you know, one of those like a little postmodern-y, and he wants to subvert shit all the time. So, but I'm like, well, at first I thought that was cool. So he wanted to like take Tolkien fantasy and he, you know, take science fiction like Dune and kind of flip some things on its head. So I'm like, cool, let me see you do it. And then, but then the more I read his stuff, the more I just feel like his only intention is to subvert those stories, but because his only intention is subverting and destroying, he doesn't actually have anything to build. So what is the actual mystery? He plants all these seeds and all these red herrings for the mystery, but I don't think he actually knows what the truth is. It's just confusing you and making it so nothing matters, because all these supernatural things matter, but or all these supernatural things happen, but you don't actually know where the cause is, and it's completely unclear. And I don't know if just because the series hasn't wrapped up yet, but like a lot of these things, when you read his books, especially the last couple of books, you realize that he just goes on these tangents on other parts of the world, and these side characters don't fucking matter, and it's so unfocused, and you just realize that, well, he really probably did have a plan. He's not building anything. He just wants to write these stories. Like John and Egret is like a mirror image of Paul and Chani, and also Beren and Luthien, and Aragorn and Arwen. It's that whole forbidden love, and like, you know, Paul going into the wilderness and falling in love with like a local girl. And by the way, Chani in the Dune books is a redhead too. So Egret's a redhead. I wonder why Chani looked the way she did in the movies, right? Shakar, I know. But
was she a redhead in the books?
Yes, she's a redhead in the books. Ginger side. But so then
that's okay. The new Dune was boring anyway.
I liked it. I liked it except for Chani. Like I don't hate Zendaya. I just think she's completely boring, and she's so uncharismatic, and she looks like a little boy, and she doesn't have charisma. I don't like seeing her in anything. I'm sorry. I know people like her. I don't. But anyways, so with like the whole John and Egret thing, it's sort of, well, does this really have long-term consequences? Like, what was the whole point of this? Did you just want to subvert this whole Beren and Luthien thing? Because I don't think people are really fulfilled reading stories that are just there to destroy sort of like, whether you call it heroic storytelling or archetypes that were already there before. At the end of the day, we want to see a conclusion. We want to see something built. Like we don't just want to see things tear down and nothing matters. So that really bothers me. I'm worried that that's where things are going, and he's never going to wrap up these book series. So it just feels like he's never, like he really wasn't going anywhere with it, right? He's kind of, I think he admitted it too, because everyone has been praising him on his world building, and then but then he admits that, well, he kind of just makes shit up. Like the map of Westeros is just a map of England, but he expanded it, kind of warped it, and he didn't really have a plan from the beginning. And when he's writing, he forgets if characters dies, and he has a couple of like super fans that kind of help him with some projects now, because they're just such big fans, and they remember more than him which characters die and which characters look like what. It's so I'm like, do you really?
Kind of sounds like George R. R. Martin is a little bit of a hack.
I'm like, I don't want to say that, but I feel like in some aspects, yeah. It's like, he's not shit. He's very good at writing prose, but with the world building, I don't think he's like some master of world building. You know, I think his world, if you look at it, is full of references to like to different, like a lot of different fantasy works, a lot of references to Dune, a lot of references to Lovecraft. But at the end of the day, like, he's really good at writing character, but he gets so distracted that he never wraps up certain character arcs. So I think I would be less annoyed if he just finished a fucking story, and I could be assured that, well, maybe this is just some giant postmodernist takedown of classical storytelling and nothing matters. Or are you actually going anywhere? Because I think if you were going to put the classical hero's journey on any character, it's probably Bran. If you like, I think like with the Game of Thrones TV show, how they made Bran the king, like I think that is actually possible in the books, but it could be done better. That's possible because if you follow like the whole challenge and is taken up by a mentor and that whole sort of journey, Bran fits the hero's journey the best. But then there are a lot of things that don't add up and don't make sense. So I'm not gonna keep on going. Ugh.
I've never read his books. I just got the first one from the library at like a library sale for like 25 cents. But I did watch the first season. And then I stopped because all the characters that I gave a shit about were dead. So I was like, why do I even want to keep watching? But I don't really remember, because I remember a lot of the time when I was watching, I was frustrated by the world as well. But I just kept thinking maybe it's explained better in the books, because I was like, where the fuck like planet do they live where they don't know when winter is, but winter can last sometimes for years and sometimes for not. I was like, what kind of weird wobbly fucking like like does the planet travel around its sun like this? Like that really annoyed me when I was watching it. Like the only saving grace for me was watching Jason Momoa. Quite honestly.
Yeah, that's generally I like
as a woman.
Oh no, I love him too. I completely concur on that.
He's eye candy for sure. He's a fucking retard, but he's eye candy.
Well, but he's a lovable retard. He's not like most Hollywood retards. So
yeah, that's true. And then what's his name? Ed, whatever.
Oh yeah, Boromir.
It was like Boromir, better. It was like it was four seasons in by the time I watched season 1. So I was behind and I wasn't super married to it. But his character and Jason Momoa's character were the only two I really cared about. And like the death scene, while it was cool, how he killed, who does Jason Momoa kill? Daenerys' brother,
Viserys,
where he like dumps fucking molten gold on his head. That was cool. I like that.
Yeah, that was cool. That's from something historical, though. He also draws a lot from history. Yeah, Tokome says George R. R. Martin just writes what's popular and writes into the story. And some people are saying he's a copycat. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I started reading George R. R. Martin before I read Lord of the Rings. So I think I'm viewing this from sort of like this gilded viewpoint of I was really young when I started reading it, and I thought the prose and the characters were so vivid. It's but I feel I really liked it, but now I feel like he kind of pulled wool over my heads and kind of tricked me with the complexity of everything. I don't think there's that much underneath the complexity. I'm be honest.
Now that you're more well read and you've looked at other things, you're like, hey, maybe this isn't as freaking brilliant as I thought. That's kind of sad. I'm sorry.
It's not that I'm scared of a conclusion. I would love a conclusion, and it's not even that. It's not. Of course, it's not that. Oh, it's not the conclusion that I want. I'm fine with any conclusion. I'm happy for the books to actually conclude the same way the TV show concluded. It's about how it's done, right? How it's done is very important. How you get there matters.
Does his world have gods?
Right. Yeah. Let's actually talk about the subject matter. His world, he leaves it ambiguous. It's sort of this thing where he references a lot of gods, and the sort of like 7-bodied god of Westeros that's based on Catholicism, and then you have like these dark gods, like what is it? I forgot, the Iron Islands worship this other like kraken underwater god. It's all
so the weird like undead Winter King thing. What is that?
That's not explained. None of these things are explained.
Oh, nobody knows? Okay.
Yeah, and it's like then you have the fire god, Rolor, and you have supernatural things happening.
Mark is saying it's an agnostic world, and that makes a lot of sense considering literally everyone is a fucking degenerate with no morals. Like, they're all just terrible people. The only good person, as far as I could see, the only good person was Boromir. And it really bothered me. Like, on the one hand, I was really happy that he was so deep into his morals that he refused even to his death to change
that
them.
Was good. That was a really good character. But I think that
but I didn't want him to die though. I was like, I wish he would not do that at least once so he could live.
Yeah,
just for me.
I'm fine with characters who are, I mean, it's saddening now that I'm sort of like seeing it from the bird's eye view. I'm wondering if, well, is Ned Stark and Jon sort of George R. R. Martin's view of the heroic characters that Tolkien would write? And he's like, oh, if you're just all about heroism and honor, you're gonna die in my world, because I think that's real, and heroes and good people in the real world die and they always fail. It's like the cynical, nasty view of the world. And I'm like, you can write complex characters that are three-dimensional and aren't always perfect without being cynical. I think that's what bothers me, because I love Berserk, and Berserk, even if like Griffith wins in the end, that's fine because it's not cynical. That's my whole problem with like sort of the whole cultural zeitgeist and the wokeness and like whatever you call it cultural Marxism, postmodernism. It's so cynical, and that's just not good for people. And that's not, I don't think that's reality. I think people are complex, but at the end of the day, like, our better part wins out a lot. And I think that's what storytelling should reflect, at least. And it's like, even if the heroes fail, and I'm not saying every story should be like, well, Superman always succeeds. Like, fucking hell, you go ahead, kill Guts, have Griffith succeed, but like have Guts persevere to the end. And what matters is a character like Guts at least, tried, and at least throughout his journey believed in fighting for what, like, he tried and he stuck it out to the end. You know what I mean? And I think that's what'll happen in Berserk. I don't think Gus will actually succeed. I haven't read any of his chapters, but right, it's just the cynicism really bothers me.
And it's depressing. It's not fun to read.
It's not fun.
Oh, somebody asked, I forget who, I wrote it down, but somebody asked who are our favorites, like our favorite gods from fantasy. Right. I don't know. The only one that I can think of would be from, like, as far as favorite god. Well, there's two, I guess, but one is technically sci-fi. So one is Mandos, which is in Tolkien, and the only real reason, I guess, is just because I really love the story of Beren and Luthien, and Mandos resurrects them after they're dead, and I like that because I know it's hard to tell from my writing, but truly I am a romantic at heart.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell. It's a little.
A little. But then they're in, I'm going to go back to Animorphs again, even though technically it's sci-fi. There's a god-type character called the Elemist, who basically, without getting into a whole long explanation about the world of that, basically he's playing like a game with another super-powered being with all of the alien races that are going on in Animorphs. And he's trying basically to prove that goodness exists. and he's doing it in like a strange, kind of confusing way, and his race has like long ago died out, but basically their thing was they go into like this weird state where they kind of basically play video games. So but the video games are real like worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's a good way to put it, I guess. So they say like, I'm going to create this universe where everyone in it is in constant pain and see what happens. And they would do that just to like see. And then they could all watch and be like, you know, that was a disaster. Why'd you do that? And they'd be like, I don't know. And then they just destroy that universe. That's sort of what they do. And I like that concept because this final elemist, like he's fighting against another creature who can do the same thing. And it made it kind of like two people playing World of Warcraft like against each other, but they can control everything because it's like God mode insanity. So I like that. Whoa, you changed the background. And then someone else, I forget who asked if there are versions of hell in our stories.
Oh yeah, we have a few chats we can go through. Let me see.
I think you got some super chats too.
Yeah, I will catch up now. Yeah, Alex VRB, just tossing random stuff. So people think there's so you have something to try. Yeah, I feel like that's what I feel like it is, and I'm just really disappointed. All right, let me catch up on these super chats. If you become a creator, once you start studying, it's one of those things where once you start studying movies, you don't enjoy them. It's hard to enjoy them, and once you start studying comics, it's hard to enjoy them. You know. So no, it's kind of unfortunate.
John to like God and the devil saying, let's mess with Job. Exactly.
Barb Rogers for another $5 Canadian. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you very much.
Yay, commie dollars.
Yeah. Hi, Second China. I'm so sorry for your country. Fakaska. I have not caught up, but I've seen that one panel, and that's all I need to fucking see. I hate her character. She's a shit character. Even before what happened after they fixed her and she still did what she did. No spoilers. I always hated her character, and I'm not going to get into it now, but maybe I should do a whole video on why I hate Casca, because people don't understand it. Every time I say this, people like freak out on Twitter like that's anything new. But I don't
even know what you're talking about.
And I think I'm right. I'm talking about
Berserk. Oh, yeah. I've never read Berserk.
Yeah. It's good. I think you'll like it. It's very dark.
Do you have hell in your world?
Technically, but it's okay, so remember the sort of the different planes that I explained before? It's not like hell as in the Christian hell. It's like the umbral plane is the plane of darkness, death, and shadow. That's where that energy comes from. And the astral plane is the plane of light and life energy. And again, there's something called planar law, and planar law dictates it's like the laws of physics, except it dictates how energy flows between the different planes. And energy is supposed to flow from the astral plane to the temporal plane to the umbral plane. And it's like you can't reverse it. It would be like water flowing uphill. So, and so I guess the umbral plane is sort of like the hell, except it's not like, I think the way I think there's a difference between the way we build our worlds. I didn't really build my world with morality in mind. It's sort of those things where there is a purpose in life that the gods do want people to live by, but so the way it works is, and people know this, at least most societies know this. So reincarnation is real, and when you're after a mortal being, a Saimar, a mortal being, has lived their life, they first of all, when a soul departs from the body, they drift around the temporal plane, and they're sucked towards the umbral plane, because the umbral plane is the plane of death. And so it's important for people to not have negative energy and too many negative thoughts when they die, because that's a way for you to be trapped in the umbral plane. And in the umbral plane, there are beings called Shaitan, and they're basically like demon lords, and they're every Shaitans, they draw their energy from a different kind of negative emotion. So it's not like just the 7 sins, because those aren't necessarily negative emotions. It's like fear, grief, guilt, anger, regret. All these things are negative emotions, and there are different Shaitans that draw energy from different kinds of negative emotions, and souls that leave life with too much negative emotion are drawn towards those domains in the umbral, and they can become trapped there. And if they become trapped there, they can be devoured. And then if a soul is devoured by a Shaitan, they're destroyed. They can't be reincarnated. They're just gone. So the goal for people is
your world has reincarnation. I think you've explained it in a previous thing.
Yeah, it does, but I don't think I've explained the umbral world and how that part works. Yeah. So if you can escape being trapped in the umbral world and being sucked into the Shaitan's domains, ideally you would be taken by Adsila, like I mentioned before, the goddess of true sight, and also the goddess who's responsible for bringing souls to the gods to be purged. She will find these souls, collect them, and bring them. She's like the messenger between the temporal and the celestial realms. As she brings the souls to the celestial realm, to sort of the halls of the gods who judge whether or not like souls should be reincarnated. So you have it's like a series of trials. So first you want to, when you leave life, the whole point is to die without anger, without regret. And so the goal of people naturally is, most cultures understand, the goal is to live a fulfilling life. Like, you don't want to die with regrets or hatred or anything like that. So that's the first way to be taken to the celestial realms. But just by being taken to the celestial realm, that doesn't mean it's heaven. It means you still have to be judged. And what you're judged on is, the gods will ask you, what were the biggest lessons that you learned in life? So the goal of Saimar is, they've been given this chance to live a life with intense intelligent consciousness. And did you waste it? What did you learn? And if they didn't learn anything, then they would also be condemned to be just destroyed and made back into pure energy for the universe, and their souls would no longer exist. But if their answer is good enough, and the gods deem that you did learn a lesson, and you did heighten yourself, and you used this energy, this consciousness that you were granted with, in a good way to better yourself and the world, then the gods will reward them with a feast. That's kind of from Norse mythology. But then they will, after that, reincarnate that, like purge that soul and reincarnate it into anything. It could be like an animal, it could be another Saimar, it can be anything. But the goal is, like, it doesn't matter. Karma doesn't really matter. It's just, did you learn a lesson? And are you worthy of going back into the world and learning a lesson and bettering your the journey of your soul across multiple reincarnations? And I know that's really inspired by Buddhism, because I was raised Buddhist. I'm not trying to preach anything, but I just thought, I haven't seen that kind of world building before. So that's the details of how reincarnation work in my world.
Okay. I don't have a hell, but I haven't really written about what would happen after someone died, other than this one woman, and that's partially just because I haven't needed to. Like we've talked about before, we write what needs to happen, like what needs to be known, because otherwise we'd never get to actually writing what anything. Like I could sit down and world build Pearl all day. Like I could just sit down and just write a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't need to go in there, because nobody will ever see it, and it's just for me. But then I'll never get the actual book done. So but it's almost 1:15.
Oh, Well, time flies.
Time flies when we're talking about cool stuff. We can always continue Gods next week or next week, as you said.
Yeah.
Or we can figure out something else.
Yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of questions about the reincarnation and stuff. So
I can go through I mean, if you have to go, it's fine. I'm not gonna drag it. I'm just gonna answer the questions people have. So
I do kind of have to go.
Okay.
3 more hours, please.
No. Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this.
Maybe on another Friday we can go for longer, but I have a thing, so
no problem. Yeah, if you have to go, that's fine. Does anybody have any questions for Allie specifically?
I do have sample chapters of my book. I don't have a wrench, so I can't share my link. But there were people. There were people who were sharing my link tree, and the Rotting Crown links on there are in there. So
okay. Well, your link tree is in the description because I just copied the description you did before. What can you comment in the chat? Let me wrench you. Boop. Hurry.
Hello.
Ah! Okay. You have now been bestowed a wrench. Handle your power wisely.
I will take this responsibility.
Yeah. Hutzel, I've also modded you. I know you're cool people. Hutzel says he likes you. I'm glad.
Thank you.
Ellie's pretty cool. Yeah, Ellie's link tree is in the description, so everybody, please go follow her. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to alternate between our two channels, and I like this background. I'm going to use this for the show from now on. I'm also going to work on like a new intro for us.
There's the link to oh, it says I'm not wrenched.
What? You're not?
No.
Okay. Add moderator. There you go. Are you? Maybe refresh? You should be modded. God damn it. YouTube.
I will try again. Oh, Clayton is here. Welcome.
Hi, Clayton.
Oh, no, wait. Never mind.
YouTube takes a minute. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, yes. It's working now. So, Barb signed up for Egg Beater. Thank you.
Cool.
So,
thank you.
My dog opened my door, and now I can be heard.
Yeah, I've been hearing noises in the background. So, what's that beast? Oh, wait. It's Allie's dog.
It's my dog.
It's your doggo.
It is my doggo. So, that's the link to the Rotting Crown. I am eventually going to put it on a site that is not Wattpad, because I know people don't like Wattpad. And I did a couple weeks ago, I read out loud some chapters. That was the E-Thought Alley pool stream. I didn't do any thought stuff. I just read my book. You're welcome.
Sounds much better than any thought stuff.
I hope so. It's funny, the book on Wattpad, it's #1 in stories with my last name in them.
Wow!
Yay! Yay! I know, go me.
Good job.
John doesn't see a link?
I'm sure it's amazing though. We have all heard Allie's storytelling input here, so I know you guys would not be disappointed. So yeah, go follow Allie on YouTube, but also her Rumble, because YouTube is full of fuckery. So you're marrying everything to Rumble, and Rumble is your backup. I also have a Rumble. I need to tell people about it more, but I just use it as a backup right now.
It's Travco said, what was the reading video called? It's the E-Thought Alley pool stream. Here, I can go find it on my Rumble even.
There you go.
But you thought Allie's just a Barbie doll, so like don't be excited.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. You made a Barbie doll and painted her up to look like you and have her sit by a pool and read shit.
Yep.
Yeah, Rumbles is pretty good. It used to be a little hard to use, but recently, I think they revamped it. I like it. I'm using it as a backup. Yeah. In case shit goes to hell. It looks like it might.
I can't
You never know.
Find it because my Rumble's like not loading everything, but it's on there. And it's just I put I put Ethot Alley in a pool and I gave stuff away. I can get Ethot Alley can make an appearance really quick before I go.
Oh,
she still has her feet tied up from the pool stream. Because I put a fishing weight, like when you go fishing, you put like a weight on the line. I put a fishing weight on her so that instead of floating like that, she would float like this, like she was actually in the pool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I put far too much work. That's Ethot Alley. She has one eye on the chat and one eye on the panel.
I see.
Yeah.
Looks just like you. Your eyes aren't that crazy, though.
I have glasses for her somewhere.
Hold on, do that again. Sorry. There's your writer profile. I just thought that looked great.
Well, I've got other ones. I mean, I've got Ali Sue the comic. No relation.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she reviews comics.
Yeah, you do. There's that. You don't use any of the Ali dolls.
Then I've got Feminist Ally.
Feminist Ally.
Yeah, she's got a really bad haircut.
The hair's not blue enough. Oh, she does have the crazy hair though. Half shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's literally the most hideous doll that I've ever found in my life.
It's pretty hideous.
And then I've got Ethot Renie.
Oh, hey, it's
already.
Me. Yay! Oh, it's a Chinese Barbie. I didn't know they had those.
You know what? They're actually they're called fashionistas. They have Barbies for everything now, even like fat chicks. They're actually the same doll.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just painted her.
Oh, okay.
Makeup. So you can't tell because
Yeah, it looks Asian-y.
And now she's
Asian-y.
Now she's like, so this is on the little swimsuit's on the plastic, and as you can see, I had to like scrape it off, so she has like all these scars.
Oh my gosh!
It's her self-harm.
Yeah, it's her self-harm.
Her self-harm scar.
This is not dark at all.
So yeah, then she lives in there. But I have teeny tiny milkshakes too for them to drink when they have their milkshake parties.
The chat is appreciating all this crazy. Well, I'm gonna have Allie on much more often. I don't know. Maybe if we do it on both channels, we can do it every week. I'm not gonna make any promises. We'll see. We're both very busy, guys, but we'll be alternating channels, so you guys will be seeing Allie here, and you should also subscribe to her channel because I'll be on there.
Next time that we do this, it'll be the 25th, and it'll be over on my channel. So
yes, correct. Oh, hey, that's right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, so that's easy to remember.
It is.
Cool. So subscribe because you're not going to want to miss it. What should we talk about next time?
Allie, make her watch American movies.
Okay, that's like half of my friends are like, I already need to watch this. You have to watch that. I know I have to see more American movies.
She's trying to like live and make her comic. Like
I know, I just have too much shit to do.
You like you said, like do you guys want your comic or not? Like, come on.
Yeah,
she'll get around to it. I'm sure she'll watch Labyrinth and Neverending Story someday.
Yeah, I will
someday.
I will. It's not a lack of will. It's just I have other things. I don't even like go out with friends. Okay, like I'm not kidding when I'm busy.
What should we talk about next time? We could continue talking about this, or we could do. What do you guys? Again. We had a lot of stuff to tell about maps that we never got all the way through. What does the chat think?
Yeah, what do you guys want? I had a list of subjects. Did I write them down, or was I stupid? I didn't write them down. I was probably stupid. I was stupid. I don't remember what I wrote down. Gods, spirits. Let me see. The Pantheon, characters. We can revisit something from early on that we haven't talked about in a while.
Well, and we didn't really talk about like how to build a god. We just kind of talked about why we did ours and stuff. So we could do that.
I mean, but I wouldn't really have anything. Maybe if you would have something to say about that. Like, I don't know how I built a god. I kind of just was like, "Ooh, this sounds cool." Oh, we were going to talk about species.
Right. Okay, we'll do species and creatures next time.
Okay, next time we're going to talk about our different races and species. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, there you go, guys. So
and that'll be fun because I actually have like some pictures and stuff of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I have pictures of my. I mean, it's on the website too. I can talk more about it because I do have a lot to say about that. Of course, you have pictures, but
I don't have pictures of a lot of my writing. So I know a lot of the people won't read books without pictures, and I understand. So when I do release Rotting Crown, I'm hoping that I could get a bunch of different artists to do like an art book for me that has like, you know, images of all of my characters and places and all that stuff, so that it's like a companion book. I mean, I need somebody to do the map too anyway, but because my map is terrible. I felt so stupid showing you my map. I was like, hey, look it, and you're just like, oh, here's mine. It's like interactive and has a life of its own and children and breath. And I'm just like, well, here's my freaking garbage sketch that I wiggled on paper.
You're not an artist. I actually really do like your map. So Allie's setting has a literal giant bloody hole in the ground that's like an endless, bottomless hole that just spews blood that they throw slaves into, and the slaves just scream and as they fall for days, and nobody knows when they hit the bottom. It's pretty gnarly. If any of you thought I was like mildly crazy, Allie will blow all of my crazy out the water. So that's the takeaway you should have from this stream. And that's a good thing. I love Allie.
I love you too.
She's going to show up at my door and kill me. It was a compliment.
I can't drive. You're so safe.
Well, I mean, if you did show up, you should show up, and then we'll hang out. It'll be fun.
I do know your address.
Yeah. Come play!
Wait, did you give me a P.O. box? I think you gave me your P.O. box. Never mind.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
I'm glad you think it's adorable. Yeah, we'll talk about races next time.
Takame, you fucking degenerate. Don't even want to talk about things that Takame thinks are adorable. I don't. It doesn't sound like she wants to invite Malin on this show.
I have sent him the link.
Really? Oh, okay. We did talk about allowing other people to come on, but she wants to vet them heavily. So. Yeah,
we are open to having guests.
But we have to make sure we're talking about world building for at least 75% of the stream.
I know. It's more that it has to be somebody we know. I know that, I talk a lot of shit with Malin, but I know he can be serious. And he has done a lot of world building for his comics. That would be cool. But it's a matter of if he wants to. Yeah, I know. He's on Ballers right now. I'm not talking about right now. But I think somebody said eventually. I have no problem with Malin coming on. Yeah. But like we might enough. This is not like the girl show, guys. We just both happen to be women. God damn it.
Vaginas only.
Yeah, vaginas only.
Then we'll never talk to anyone else.
Yeah. He's still in chat. Is he like in Ballers, but still in? I haven't seen him in chat. No, he's on Ballers right now. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go back and answer some of the questions about like reincarnation people had because I was ignoring a bunch of them. So.
Well, you ranted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm super sorry. I'll be able to stay on for longer next time, but I do have to go. I apologize.
No problem.
I feel like I'm like abandoning you.
No, you're not.
Are you gonna be okay?
I'm okay. Okay. I'm just so alone. I just need support. I'm just kidding.
I know you're kidding, but like I'm a softie, so I'm a little worried now.
I'm okay. I stream alone all the time. I run my own. Yeah. I'm actually. You're actually a big softie, and I'm actually just a hapless little girl, and I'm scared when I'm on my own.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll be okay.
Thank you. I'll try.
It's not your fault. Oh, you probably haven't seen that movie. Never mind.
I haven't.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm way behind in chat. Can I even?
Irene cries blood. Don't we all?
Yeah. Shit.
All right. We'll do species and creatures next time. Let us know. Somebody in the chat said we could do a stream where we build a new world. That might be interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
I think whatever we made, you and I together, we'd have to kill at the end of it.
Yeah, we had to destroy it because then I just get too carried away.
Its existence would be misery.
Yeah. Do you really want us two to get together and build a world?
Oh God. Yikes. Well,
this won't be nuts at all.
No. We could easily do it though. I have faith in us.
That'll be fun. Yeah, every time I talk to Allie, I think my world isn't fucked up enough. I'll work on it. You've inspired me.
I'll work on it. I don't know if that's the kind of inspiration I want to be.
But I like it.
Okay.
I'm happy for you to be that inspiration.
Good.
You're changing lives, Allie.
Yay! I don't know if it's good. Okay. Well, finish up your chats, and thank you everybody for listening to me ramble, and listening to Renie make sense.
No, I think it's the opposite way around. But thank you very much for coming on. This was fun.
It's always fun. We get to talk and not like just be silly. It's nice.
Yeah. So everyone go follow Allie on Allie's channel. And we will see her in 2 weeks over on her channel.
Yes. On the 25th of November. Holy crap. It's halfway through November already?
I know.
What?
It's very annoying.
The 25th of November on my channel, because hopefully I won't have been stricken again.
Yeah. Hopefully. If not, it'll be here, but follow our Twitters. We're gonna announce all that shit.
Yep. Good night, everyone, and good night, Renie. Sleep well.
Good night. It's just me. Oh no, it's me. Whatever shall I do? I'm just kidding. I'll be fine. Okay, I just wanted to answer some questions people had about previously, because Allie said she had to go. Oh, but I feel bad just leaving the chat hanging because you guys had a bunch of like comments on the when I was talking about the like how reincarnation works in my world and all that shit. So if I can scroll back and find the fucking chats, that would be really great. Whew. Probably shouldn't. This was good stuff. It's called Fistful of Bourbon. This is nice. I got these. I like to get these like little miniature bottles. I mean, for one thing, they're cute, and also I can taste different kinds of alcohol. I like this one. Okay, let's scroll back a bit. Scroll back a bit. Oh, people talking about George R. R. Martin. Oh, Griffith is only acting out of love. Yeah, he's not. I need to nerd out on Berserk with Corey Barton. I guess so. Yeah, I talked to Corey like a couple of times. Corey's really cool and also really quiet, but I want to talk to him more. Yeah. Okay, let's just start with anything from her life. I think you're talking. This was a comment for Allie, so sorry about that. All right, let's see. Did I miss? Nope, that was further back. Shit. Awkward silence. Women love Jason's acting, Jason Momoa. I mean, he is actually a good actor. I liked him in Dune. He's actually, it's not just that he's hot. Like, there's a lot of hot actors, but Jason's also like, I mean, I just like his energy. Like, he seems like just like a positive, fun guy, you know? But he can act. I really liked him as Duncan Idaho. I'm not gonna like part 2 of the Dune movie. I know what happens in Dune. I read the books. Okay. All right. Scrolling down. I really wanted to get through these questions because there were some good ones. God damn it. Now it's all awkward. Oh, there we go. Finally found it. Okay. Sumerian hell where people are shadows and eventually fade away. It's kind of like that. There you go. That looks better. It's like so if souls get trapped in the umbral world, they're kind of just they're wallowing. What ends up happening is the more they get trapped in like the section of the umbral world where the negative energy that they got trapped there by is pervasive, the more they are steeped in that negative energy. So they become just beings that are consumed by that emotion, that energy, and they wander through the umbral world endlessly, being more and more consumed by this. And some of them turn into monsters, and that I have like types of monsters. They're called Iblis, and those are monsters. It's kind of a spoiler, but anyways, they're it's what you get for getting me to talk for like 3 hours. That's something from Middle Eastern mythology. I took the name from like I think it's like Islamic or pre-Islamic Middle Eastern mythology, but I changed like the way they work is something that I just made up. So like they can become these creatures, these monsters that are just made of pure negative energy, and they feed off of more negative energy. They can either turn into monsters or they're eaten by monsters. So that's how like these sort of demons or spirits or like creatures in the umbral feed. They feed off of souls that haven't become trapped there by these energies. You know what I mean? So they don't really fade away. They just kind of like devolve and warp, and they just eat each other. Like the umbral world is just full of negative energies and creatures and souls eating each other. That's what it's like. So I mean, that's a kind of torture, isn't it? But it's not the kind of torture that's like, well, you get tied up and your feet get burned off over and over again. It's not the same. I feel like that's more psychological torture. And it just makes sense with the way that I designed how reincarnation works, right? Because the goal is to die in peace and to learn a lesson in life and all this stuff. And sort of like the goal of mortal beings is to to realize that there's something more, and to not hold on to everything in life so much at the end, you know. And if you die with all that negative energy, that means you're holding on too much to this life, even though it was sort of like this one life you lived is only part of a larger purpose. It's not the end all be all, is sort of the message that the gods want mortal beings to have. So that's why I designed the Umbral world the way I did. I'm describing my world right now, not Berserk. Well, I think the world of Berserk isn't that clear on heaven and hell. Like, hell seems to exist because we've seen that giant amalgamation of all the souls, and like everyone who's sacrificed to the god hand, they get turned into, you know, that they're condemned to hell basically. But it's not really that clear. I think it's very much focused on the characters who are alive right now, though I could see something. I don't know, Amira had designed that stuff that clearly. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something similar. I am very inspired by Berserk. There's no I've never hidden that, as you guys know. Is your soul worthy to level up? There are ways to level up. It's sort of one of those things where it's not like guaranteed. It's not sort of like, well, if you there are ways to sort of like curry favor with the gods, but it's not like if you pray hard enough or you worship a god hard enough, then you're rewarded for it. Not really. It's just literally about your deeds. Like, you could spend your whole life just worshiping the gods, and that's not really worth anything because, well, you were just being obedient, doing what you were told, but that's not what the gods want you to learn. They want you to actively have done some good for the world, and help people, or save someone, or change the world, or learn something. Again, life is supposed to be about learning a lesson. So that's the philosophy that I want my world building to revolve around. There is and this is on the website as well, at the very bottom, there is a way for Simar to be elevated to become essentially Haltija. Haltija are like the lowest form of nature spirits. So they can be made to become pure astral forms. And that's what dryads are in my world. So dryads, how in like D&D and stuff, dryads are something else. They're like a whole different race. They're like nature spirits, and at least in like D&D and Pathfinder, dryads are like these tree spirits that live in trees. That's not what it is I just used the term dryad, but what they are, dryads are formerly mortal beings, and they're very, very rare. It almost never happens. And even if a mortal being becomes favored by a Dunskagia or a god, like a demigod or a greater god, that doesn't mean they will be granted this sort of immortal life as a dryad, basically turn into a form of Haltija. Like, there are different kinds of Haltija. Again, Haltija are like the lowest form of spirits. They inhabit like trees and bushes and flowers and everything, even like houses. Sometimes you have like domestic Haltijas. There are a lot of cultures, especially European cultures, have like house spirits, like spirits that will take care of your house, or if like a residence has existed for many generations, and the residents there have, the people who live there have exemplified good character, then they're like, in Slavic mythology, there's something called the domovoi, and in Scandinavian mythology, there's something called the nidsi, and they're very similar. So those are like sort of house spirits that are good for the household, and they manifest in the homes of virtuous people. So anyways, so there would be stuff like that, and those are all different kinds of Haltija in my world. But specifically, dryads are Simar who were turned into Haltija instead of dying upon their death, because they did something to that caused a powerful Dunskagia or the gods to favor them. But then they also have to be willing to live like the eternal life, right? Because it's not just, well, you live an eternal life as the astral being and everything is good. Well, you're bound to serve, because again, the whole point of Haltija is they have a purpose. It's like they almost can't leave a certain physical area. It's like a Haltija who's bound to like a tree or a rock. Like they're bound to that area. Their job, their whole being is to protect that thing, and they're generally like very simple, pure beings. And in general, there are some evil Haltija as well, but most of them are bound to do one thing, and they like serve. There's a whole like order of spirits. So like the Haltija serve Dunskagia, and Dunskagia serve greater Dunskagia, and the greater Dunskagia serve the gods. So it's not like, you know, it's a reward, but it's also a reward where there's a trade-off. So I guess in that way there's a level up, right? But in general, not as far as, there's some theories to if like a soul has lived enough lifetimes and has been rewarded and approved of by the gods and has always learned a very good lesson enough times, then then people think the gods would give that soul a reward, but nobody knows what it is. But all they know is that that soul will be rewarded with escaping the mortal coil, but they don't know what it is. They think it's not just destruction, it's something else. They're taken somewhere else and nobody knows. So there you go. It's like the Hindus who strive to a higher plane of existence, kind of like that, yeah. And it wasn't done on purpose. It's sort of like I wrote this stuff and I realized afterwards that, well, I think I grew up reading about a lot of that stuff, so it's just sort of how things happen, right? It's sort of like how I think things would make sense, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's true, but I feel like that makes sense. I feel like a system like this makes a universe that makes sense, right? More than just like, well, the gods, there's a god that wants you to live a certain way and this is the only correct way. That never made sense to me because there's so many different ways for people to live. I think just having like a strict set of morals doesn't really make sense for like a true pantheon, right? Like, I mean, I guess you could say that, well, maybe, for example, of all the religions in our world, there is only one that's right. And I think that's why people fight about religion so much. But I think that's silly. I think there's something more to it. Why not boil it down to something that's much more than just like your morality? Did you follow these rules well enough? Because there should be more to life than just following the rules. Why don't you make it about, did you learn? And I think that's something that's more worth striving for, personally. 3 more hours. Okay, I think those are most of the ones that I wanted to answer. Will there be any bodhisattvas? I mean, there's something similar. Some shamans, because shamans can meditate and project themselves into the astral plane. There are some shamans that have like kind of preserved their bodies. And when we get to Malkenka, which is the shaman's big center of knowledge up in the mountains, I think we're going to see, there are like these statues where inside are encased like these shamans' bodies, where the shamans have like just astrally projected themselves and their bodies are still technically alive, but encased within these statues. So there's stuff like that. But as far as bodhisattvas, not really. Not like I'm not trying to just rip off Buddhism. It's just some stuff I think is influenced by it. Like a lot of this is also kind of like Norse mythology. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, any new questions? Okay. Have I drawn my version of hell? Okay, now I'm reading new questions. Did I miss any super chats? I hope I didn't. Okay. Have I drawn my version of hell? No. I know what it looks like in my head, and I think we'll see a little bit of it. I mean, it's not really hell. I don't call it hell. I mean, I guess it's a form of hell. It's the umbral plane. I haven't drawn it. I know what it looks like, though. I mean, obviously it's dark, but I don't know. But I want to feel like a real world. It should, like, both the astral and umbral planes they shouldn't feel like solid reality. I know more clearly what the astral plane looks like. The astral plane looks like a dreamscape. It's like almost everything in the real world has a representation in the astral plane, but whatever it looks like in the astral plane is like an exaggerated form of what it is in real life, but also the size and shape is different, and the things look different depending on your own perception, right? Because astral plane is about your perception. So for example, if a shaman astrally projects into the astral plane and looks at like somebody they hate versus somebody they love, and versus looks at the same person, okay, for example, they look at their enemy, but somebody who doesn't hate that person that the shaman views an enemy, if another shaman views it, like they would see different things. They would see related things but different. For example, I have a character whose form in the astral plane is represented by like a huge giant figure that's just made of vines, and the vines are encasing a smaller form, like a little child within their hearts, and that represents something in their past. Like deep inside there's still this child, but they're fortified themselves with these vines, and these dry dead vines that they kind of use to make themselves big and strong, but inside there's like a hurt child that never healed. So and the person who goes into the astral world sees that, and it takes a long time to break through and like finally see that deep inside that's who that person really is. You know what I mean? So it's very much like a dreamscape with different layers to reality. So that's the astral plane. But the umbral plane, I would say, is kind of like the dreamscape in Berserk. You know, when Shirka, what the fuck her name is, fucking shit, weird little witch name, and Farnese went into Casca's dream, like that kind of like dark shifting hellscape. That's what the astral plane will look like, but like it would shift around more. It's like the ground would be bubbling and landscapes, the distance would keep on shifting. Nothing is real because it's not the temporal plane. It's not like reality is different. Okay, let me catch up. No corporeal manifestation gain over time and transition, more complex difficulties to become a reflection upon their test for the next level. Where learning denotes change. No corporeal gain over time. No corporeal manifestations gain over time. Yeah, I think there would be, maybe it would be more a question of, because I don't want to have sort of this sort of set of rules where, well, if you, and this is sort of in Buddhism, and this is actually something that I don't really like, I don't really agree with, where, well, if you live a life well, then you will be reincarnated as a human again, because that's good. And also Buddhism is like a little sexist, at least the version I was taught. So if you're born as a woman, that, well, sexist or based, depending on your view, I guess, but it's if you're reincarnated as a woman, that means you did something wrong in your previous life. And if you live your life well, then you'll be reincarnated as a man. I'm fucking serious. This is what I was taught growing up. But then if you live your life badly, then you'll be reincarnated into a dog. And if you live your life really badly, you will be an ant. So it's like karma is real in Buddhism. I don't actually want karma. I think because I don't think karma exists in the real world. So I don't think that's not something that applies to my version of reincarnation in Fiendish. I think it's more about, you can live one life as a human, and maybe your next life you're a dog, and then the next life you're a dev, and then the next life you're a fish. Doesn't matter. What matters is your answers for what you learned you need to be building on what you learned every time. It's about what you learned. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because like, in a way, all lives are equal. I mean, when you live as a Saimar, I guess those lessons would weigh way more because you have more consciousness and you have more of a chance to learn. But I think at the end of the day, it's about like what you take away from it. Yeah. I think. The gates are held aloft from the inside. Interesting. So these shamans, their minds are transformed into manifestations of form that hold their beings, but are more like uploading itself in a virtual space. Yeah, it's very much like ghost diving, like Ghost in a Shell, or like the Matrix. It's like their corporeal living body still exists in a temporal plane, but it's through meditation, but also there are some drugs they take, and it takes a long time to do it effectively, but they can project their mental, like their consciousness into, it's mostly the astral plane. It depends on which plane they're connected with. Because again, every shaman or every Isfoliet or human is biologically connected to different planes. So some can actually project their consciousness into like the plane of fire or something if they're a fire domain. But shamans who are life domain, the life domain is connected to the astral plane, they would project themselves into the astral plane because that's their primary domain and they have the strongest connection to that. So yeah, it's like ghost diving basically. There you go. It's like the Matrix. There's a lot of history on your planet that's been hidden from humanity. Why do you say that as a statement? As if you already know this. I mean, that's true. But I don't think I mentioned it that much, or did I? I probably got really drunk and spoiled a bunch of shit before. The world is an illusion. I do wonder about that. I think simulation theory is very plausible. I think it's almost, I mean, again, I'm pretty agnostic, but I think simulation theory is the most plausible to me at this point. It makes the most sense. So not a set time frame, but a time frame based upon the accumulation of their energy. The more energy then manifests within each lifetime reflects what they learned. Yeah, it's more like that. It's more like that. There's no like set time frame for you to like achieve Buddhahood or any rules like that. It's just, well, if the gods determine that you are actively learning and improving on the energy, like the sort of the overall experience of your soul. And there's a greater purpose for it, but it doesn't really matter for the story. It's just like the gods have their own goal and their reasons for training. It's like they're training these souls to learn, to be active minds and to learn over and over again through different lifetimes. I might expand. I can like write something really esoteric later on and like kind of come up with and explain why the gods are doing this. But that's not pertinent to Fiendish, so that's not something that I need to expand right now. You know what I mean? Are there zealots in the book? In your book, did they persecute on species over another? Yeah. Well, already in I mentioned before that the purple people, which is what Yomi is. Let me share my screen again. So I have the different species here in my book. The Dev are these, the purple species, and my character Yomi, she's a Dev. The Devs serve as slaves to most other species, just for various reasons. They're just always seen like that. They don't really have any supernatural abilities, and they're just seen as lesser. So it's just sort of one of those things that nobody knows why. They've been just serving as slaves forever, so that's just how they're treated. But also, as far as zealots go, yeah, there are zealots. It's kind of a silly thing though, because I don't know, worshipping a god doesn't always do you any good. It's like, it depends. I mean, if you worship a narcissistic evil god, because those exist as well, or not necessarily a god, maybe a spirit that's very narcissistic, then yeah, that would curry you favor, and there could be populations that fall to that. So yeah, you might see some of that in the book. Get over here, help Patricia. Who's Patricia? Should I? Oh, Patrick. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go over. I'm wrapping up here. I just wanted to answer everybody's questions. I'm just nerding the fuck out about my world forever and spoiling everything. Yeah. I'm not in the ballers room though. You gotta send me a link. Yeah. Let me see. I'll hop over, but you gotta get me a link. Don't play with me. Am I planning to expand my domains? My domains, as in all the domains for that the shamans can cast. So there are more domains technically. I think there will be more, but I have this whole thing where, but I don't think it's. I have a lot of other world building, but I've restrained myself from over expanding it because I want to focus on. I have like storytelling should revolve around the characters, and my characters have a set journey, and I've already built a world that does flesh out their journey and does reinforce it. I don't want to get too carried away, because there's like once I build all these domains and then I start building the gods, there's a lot of stuff I get carried away writing, but I need to focus on telling Casimir and Iskil and Yomi and Ragnar's story right now, because that's what's most important. But I do have things that I just write on the side, on and off, that maybe I can do a story with this, maybe I can have this. And a lot of my notes start with what if, because it's not, well, this is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone until I put it in the comic. But there is a lot of, well, I think that this is probably, if I ever do expand on it, then I will go in this direction. And the domains is something that does tie into that. I might have more domains, because the domains I have now are life, death, for the 4 states of matter, heat and cold, and technically you would have more. So I'm thinking, so Antaya, it's like you see the continent over here, that's sort of my fantasy Asia. That's where the more advanced societies are. I know, elitist. Sorry, guys. But there's a huge empire called the Huaxia Empire. And they're this huge kind of snobby empire. They have like the most advanced science. And they're kind of also assholes, of course. But they're over there on almost like halfway across the world. And they don't have that much to do with the main story, the story of Fiendish. We see some people from Taya, but it's not like we don't go there within the main story of Fiendish, you know. But it's sort of like, I might bring up that in Taya, the shamans there have discovered that there are more domains other than that. And it would be, you know, stuff like I wanted like different parts, different kinds of different like subjects of science, almost like, what about gravity? What about time? Could I have a time domain? I feel like that would also be a domain, right? Like a different, you know, things in like space-time. What about like, what is dark energy? That could be a domain. And what would be opposing dark energy? Because everything in my world is about duality, like with the gods, night and day, Atsila and Milakto, truth and trickery. And then, you know, with the way the domains are, like heat opposes cold, life opposes death. So I would have to come up with a system that works, but there probably would be like more domains. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm talking too much, guys. Am I talking too much? I gotta go see Ethan right now in Ballers. Okay. All right. I'll go over to Ballers. I'll just be in the chat, even if they don't let me on, because I'm not cool enough for them. But apparently something's going on. I didn't spoil that much, guys. But yeah, anyways, check out the website. I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really good, and I put up a bunch of stuff on here. I'm about to send out an email, so if you guys can sign up for the mailing list right here. I'm going to send out like a coupon for the store. I want to give everybody like a little treat before the holidays. So if you order something now, it should still get to you in time for Christmas. So if you would like any of the merch here, I'm about to send out a coupon, so sign up for the mailing list, and yeah, check out the website. I would really appreciate it. I put a lot of work into this. Thank you for all the links. Thank you to all the mods. You guys are awesome. You're nomadic in spirit. Oh, thank you. Canvas maps at 150K. Yes, and keep on backing Fiendish. Please. I want to get to 150K. Please, please, please. You haven't talked enough. I feel like that's sarcasm. The more society becomes advanced, often the more they disconnect from their compassion and only reflect upon their logical perceptions. Truth, one man's science is magic. Yeah, that's true. That's sort of how I write Taya and Huaxia, is even though their science is more advanced, it's almost like, it's weird because I'm writing my fantasy version of, it's sort of like if China and Japan had a baby, but also in some ways Huaxia reflects America, where Huaxia is the global superpower of my world, but they, in some ways, like the upper, like the society is built on very good morals, but the sort of like upper echelon is very corrupt, and they've lost touch with a lot of what made them great to begin with. You know what I mean? And they've lost touch with some of their humanity, is the way I want to write their culture. So yeah. it's not exactly like America, but it's just I take inspiration from that just because, I'm American, superpower and all that shit. So, yeah, thank you. All right. I think that's all. I think I answered everyone's questions. I've been talking long enough, guys. I'm not going to bore you guys more. So I'm going to go bother everybody in the Ballers chat. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed Allie being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the Allie and Renie show. Again, this is every other Friday. So it should be on Allie's channel next time. Hopefully she is able to stream next time. If not, I guess it'll just be on my channel again, but we're trying to alternate. So what you should do is follow that playlist that's in the description. It's right there. It's right at the top, like almost at the top of the description. So follow that playlist. All the videos will be added there. So you guys will be keeping up with everything. I guess it's a big announcement. So tomorrow at like 5 p.m. Eastern time, it's like at 5 p.m. because they're in Europe. I'm going to be on Archcast. So if you guys know Arch Warhammer, I'm going to be talking to Arch about Fiendish. So he's a pretty big channel. I've actually been a fan of him for a long time. I've been following him, V, and Sargon for like fucking years. Ever since, you remember, like 6 or 7 years ago when, they were screaming out on Anita Sarkeesian. I found them super entertaining and they were spitting straight truth. So it's very exciting. It's an honor to be going on to his channel, and I hope I won't be too much of a fuck up. I hope I'll do well and I'll represent all of you in this lovely community well. So I don't know if anybody follows Arch, but if you don't, you should. His main channel is Arch Warhammer, but he has like a channel where he does like live streams. It's called Archcast. So if you search that, you'll be able to find it. Hold on. Oh, let me link it. I fucking suck. Just let me post a link real quick. Okay. There you go. I will post a link. It should be a live stream. Archcast ! Okay, there you go. So, follow his channel there, and I'll see you guys next time. I'll be back on Wednesday for another promo stream. And that is all. Thank you all, and I'll see you around. Have a good night. Bye. Bye.